and claims that they have been perhaps lying and falsifying information to get treatment for children and money from the government for it. Lots on the show here. How about we start with Iran? Because the memorandum was signed, the information is there. We're starting to see more into it, and a lot of Republicans are not happy with it. And I looked at it and I was trying to think, okay, how do I feel about this? Do I think this is a good deal? And the answer is no, because when we went into this, the idea was we're going to finally put an end to this Iran business, where we don't have to worry about them constantly being a threat.
If she couldn't hear her, she could
Iran's
told us right now. Are you texting her?
Yeah, I'm asking if she can at least hear the station.
Israel a hard time. Oh, Iran is funding terrorists. Oh, Iran is doing this. Iran's doing that. So when Donald Trump went in there and he said,
if she can hear the station, that's really all that matters.
We're going to
right.
Yeah.
And we're going to get rid of the military, and we're going to make sure they never get a chance at a nuke, and we're going to make sure they can't weaponize these things against our allies in the region, and we're finally going to put an end to this. Bomb, 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 boom, boom, boom. Get rid of some key people. And what happens?
The
way that it was described to me, I think it was Jeff Helter.
Yeah, no.
I can't remember if I was filling in here from our or was it Andy
if you're going to be at home, you ought to at least.
And he said essentially what you did was
be aware of
Hitler,
us.
and then you started negotiating with the SS. And that's tough because the new leadership coming in isn't the same thing that you see video on the ground. When you look at the way the Iranians are living and the way they want to be free, the oppressive regimes that are over them are still the regimes over them. And once we start to look at the deal and we understand, okay, they're going to promise not to do this. So we spent all this time and money to wipe out their military, to make sure they'll never get nukes, to out their leadership with more bad leadership.
I haven't been in here since
and deplete their resources. It doesn't do anything long term. 10 years from now, they can bubble right back up, and there's not going to be a Donald Trump in office.
Is Mark
and we're going to be stuck with dealing with this mess again. Do we really want to do this? I thought this was going to be the justification for doing all of this, was to make sure we don't have to deal with this forever. Every lifetime, every generation's got to deal with this garbage. That's what I was hoping would happen. So a lot of Republicans are upset. There's a couple of quotes here, and we're going to play some clips from President Trump too. Senator Holloway here in Missouri said, I think the fact that the president's getting the strait reopened, that he's got their nuclear program buried, those are big achievements.
Yes, who's not answering?
Commentator said, in my opinion, the vice president of the United States, the chief negotiator on this particular project, has not well served the president. Ted Cruz said, history teaches that giving billions of dollars to lunatics who want to murder us is not a good idea. And even if it's not a pallet like Obama did, it's still giving them access to earn it. And what do you think they're going to do when they get that money? They're going to earn it, and who are they going to
She's
pass it
talking
along
to somebody
to?
in the background. I think she's on the phone.
Who are they going to funnel it to? It's going to be people that are doing the same stuff we don't want happening. These terrorist organizations, and if not them directly.
Yeah, she's on the phone with somebody. It sounds like
this, because we were supposed to. Okay, this was supposed to be the end, and that's why I think a lot of Republicans and conservatives, some conservatives, are looking at this, and what they're saying is this is not what we were told would be the end result after all of this, because it feels like. Why'd we bother? If this is the outcome, why'd we bother? We could have just boom, 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 bomb, 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 get rid of their military, get rid of their nukes and their facilities that were enriching this if they were that close to using it. And then we could have said, okay, don't even think about it. And we could have been done right there. We could have just, and that would have been it. But over the last couple of months, there's been a lot of question if this was worth it. Was the juice worth the squeeze? I think that's what we're going to have to figure out. Let's look at some clips from President Trump. How about we start with clip number 17.
Think of what Israel's getting. They're not going to be nuked. It's very simple. I told Bibi, your biggest risk was that they drop a nuclear weapon into the middle.
Yeah, you were very
they
quick
only need one,
getting that cut off.
and there would be no more Israel.
He just said,
You got the best. The most important thing that you were asking for.
Well, he said he was going to play
We
quite a bit
stopped
beforehand.
nuclear holocaust, and it stopped too. I mean, there's not going to be any of that.
Well, I don't know what to do about Sue. She just won't even answer.
I saw our producer. I'm watching the live feed right now. You were smiling when he said BB. When he said it twice in a row, it did sound a little bit funny. I mean, I did see that. Johnny there, that little smirk, and then he said BB in the middle. He's talking about them bombing Israel, and the ramifications of that would be catastrophic. It'd just be horrific. It sounds like he was, he took away from it when he said BB. Yes, that's a byproduct. We're helping Israel in that way. Are we going to have to worry about this even longer? Are we going to have to say, okay, we were paying money already to help defend them? Potentially, are we not going to have to give them as much money and resources in the future because Iran's not going to be that much of a threat? Is that a potential savings in the future? Perhaps. I guess you can look at it that way. Time will tell. How about clip number 18?
Then it's a memorandum of understanding. If it doesn't get done in 60 days, that's all right. We go back to bombing. You know, I don't want to do that because it's so good. But we might have to, because we're never going to let them have a nuclear weapon. But they've agreed not to, and you'll see that very clearly in the agreement.
Okay. They've agreed not to because they said, oh, no, we would never do that. And look where we are. The whole reason we got into this is because you said the intelligence was there, that not only did they have the capabilities and they were, you know, within reach of doing it, that their intention was to use them as soon as they had it and use them on our allies, use them on Israel, use it on us, use it on our own people. We don't want that. We don't want any of that happening. So could there be something in the next 60 days that changes between now and then? Could we continue to pound them? Absolutely. You can't take them for their word. That is 100% guaranteed. And to think that we have any optimism that this deal is going to be exactly what we hope it to be is also not good, because you heard right in Fox News, their Ayatollah coming out and saying they leveraged this against us and we don't like it. So what are the odds if you were to go to a betting site right now that Iran's going to break immediately within the next week? Probably high, unfortunately. This is clip number 19.
Can I follow up quickly on something you said in the press conference? You said you don't mind Iran having ballistic missiles. Can you elaborate on that? I want to make sure we understand your position.
No, I'm saying that if other countries have them, it's a little bit unfair for them not to have some. A ballistic missile is not the same thing as what we're talking about when we talk nuclear. But if Saudi Arabia and Qatar and they all have some, I would say in relative proportion, I think it's okay.
So stupid. No. It's an idea of either they can be trusted or they cannot be trusted, and they cannot be trusted. So to say that we're going to trust them with something, a ballistic missile, then as long as it's in proportion with their other people that they don't like, then no, I don't want that. Don't like that one bit. I'm sure part of it is Iran says we don't have the ability to defend ourselves. Well, sure. You started something, the United States came in and got rid of all your military capabilities across the board. Yeah, I understand why that would be a concern to you. But you kind of had it coming. And for a long time. Let's go to clip number 21. This is Vice President Jenkins on the critics.
They have committed to the destruction of the highly enriched stockpile that they have in their possession. What is the benefit that the Iranians get that they didn't have before? And the answer is nothing. They don't get anything unless they change their behavior. It's really kind of like a dial. As they dial up their good behavior, we can dial up the economic relief. If they dial down their good behavior, we can turn it off. It's the good thing about having the leverage, and it's a good thing about being the United States of America.
Oh, you get your good boy points. It almost feels like the incentive system that I have with my children, which is, if you read today for an hour, we'll put a star on the marking page of the bridge. Once you get 10 stars, you'll get something really good. It almost feels like that. Yeah, Iran is definitely not in a good spot right now. They are not in a good spot whatsoever. And you can say to yourself, why in the world would they not want to play ball? And that's what Jacob answers. But the point is, Iran is not in the business of playing ball. And you can never trust them to do the logical, insane, irrational thing. And that's why a lot of people like myself is insane. The odds of this working out seem to be still low. And that's why it's not as an outcome.
You guys really can't hear me.
Joining us after the break is Bill Holloway.
We can hear you.
He is the
Oh, good.
show.
I've been trying to be blah, 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 blah.
I gotcha. Sue can hear us.
She can?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I'm Ryan Rankin, filling in for Mark Reardon. Reardon on 97.1
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, on the roads this afternoon,
Can I talk to Ryan right now, or do I have to wait?
Hmm?
Can I talk to Ryan right now?
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, it's Fred.
Oh, yeah. Talk back. There you go.
Hey, Ryan, it's Fred.
Fred, what's up?
Hey, not much. Hey, Phil Holloway says he can also talk about the Luigi defense attorney saying that they want to seek a psychiatric defense.
Oh, okay. I'll ask him about that. Thank you.
Is Phil good to go?
Yep.
Oh, perfect.
Hmm.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified background.
All right, we got Phil ready to go.
And we can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Don't know why the audio would be like canned.
Father and son team, how would they become friends over the course? I think I've known him for about 12 years now, and I love the model. I knew right away when I met them that I was going to put them to work. So I had a car at the time when I met him. I'm like, I'm ready for a new car. This is what I want. It's probably a little bit above my price point. What if we get something huge? They found it. They knocked it out of the park. Dave Klein, my former producer, was looking for a Chevy Suburban. He's got a big family. Those are expensive, right? Well, we're going to MasterCard. Get one with 10,000, 15, 20,000 miles. It's going to be in great shape because they're going to vet this for you. You have an awesome car buying experience. Don't trade your car in like any other car. They can buy your car outright if you prefer that. You also love MasterCard. They have all kinds of fun cars, late model cars, muscle cars, Corvettes, Harleys, but they have your everyday cars. They have it all. They really do. They're in Granite City. Used cars, with new car caliber. I love these guys. MasterCards.com.
More than MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been affected by a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, Holloway is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network for 26 years. Holloway is supporting your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no one with Holloway has ever paid a ransom. So visit Holloway.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
Did you know replacing old vinyl windows with more vinyl windows might not be the best choice? Hi, it's Kim, and I'm here to tell you about Infinity from Marvin Windows because these fiberglass windows, they're energy efficient, they're beautiful, and they're custom built to fit your home perfectly.
Ryan's muted.
Renovation and design,
So like
so easy. I love the fact that they even offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. Look, if you're tired of drafts, high energy bills, or maybe hard to open windows, now is the time to upgrade. Visit windowsbylakeside.com to schedule your free consultation today.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm
Hey.
Katie Kershaw. We meet
Boy,
our
oh
clients for the
boy.
first time. They have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have a retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence.
Man, I miss Joyous. That hot salami was so good.
9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
And welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Mark Reardon.
Tomorrow is going to be festive. us now is host of the Making Petty Crime Show, former assistant district attorney in Georgia, and former police officer. Bill Holloway, thank you so much for coming on to 97.1.
Well, great to be with you, Ryan. Appreciate it, buddy. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, over the weekend, a lot of people were surprised to learn, I guess, the following morning, the UFC event that there could have been something bad out there. I've seen some people mention that with this UFC event, it was pretty early on in the planning stages. It looked like it was a real threat, but still they had the intention to hurt a lot of people. I wanted to talk to you about this foiled plot and the attack that happened on the White House grounds at the UFC event. With all the things that were going on, what were the first things that were going on?
Yeah, so this was quite something to behold. And, the people are saying, well, they weren't serious and this wasn't really all that big of a deal. But, they thought in their minds that it was going to be a big deal. And, this is not the kind of thing that authorities can do anything other than treat very, very seriously. And I got to say, we got to give credit where it's due. One of the accused co-conspirators, Tyson Croker, his mother, is the one that actually pointed law enforcement sort of in the right direction, because she became concerned about some of his sort of radicalized messaging and things of that nature. And one thing led to another. And when law enforcement were pulled on these strings, so to speak, the whole thing became unraveled. And let's face it, we're living in unprecedented times. I don't know how many times we have seen now people plan to or actually how many acts on top level people are done, whether it's assassination or actually
Wait a minute.
We just have to address this. Leftist violence, political.
Why does it sound like that?
To be embracing political violence. It just has to stop.
So let's say
Why the fuck does it sound like that?
One of which was from Missouri.
So let's say
Why the fuck does it sound like that?
So if they go and try to play the defense, which was, they weren't even close to the point of execution, it was more of an idea, they weren't serious, would any of that fly in court? Do you think any of that could be used in their defense successfully, or is that a bunch of nonsense?
No, I don't think that would be successful, because here's the thing: a conspiracy is complete the moment that individuals have the meeting of the minds, the agreement, if you will, to commit the act, and if they take any overt acts in furtherance of that conspiracy, then it's complete. You don't have to actually achieve the goal of the conspiracy for the crime to be complete. So the same thing goes for the criminal intent to commit murder, which carries a life sentence as to each individual victim. Even if you will prove specific victims, I think they can, because individuals were named in all of these messages. So you could say that the agreement was reached by the co-conspirators, and that simply sending one message, posting a plan, or discussing how they're going to complete it, that would be.
Well, the only people on the stream are me and Ryan. Ryan's muted.
The execution phase is quite, we're really lucky at that, actually, but I don't think that's going to be a
Prosecutors also pointed out that the plot was meant to jumpstart a resolution. So the idea was, hey, if we get in and do this, we're going to, jumpstart this next big shift across America, and, they'll take out whatever their cause would be. That would be the message that people would rally around. So when you hear things like jumpstart a revolution, you probably hear that a lot in these conspiracy cases, people thinking that way.
Well, that's the part of the sort of the violent political messaging that we see on the left. I mean, you've got so many examples. Charlie Kirk's assassination, of course, just being one recent one. But, political violence is the latest sort of in style, I guess, message and tool of the radical left. And I don't know really how you combat that on a large, massive scale, because let's face it, like the saying goes, the law enforcement authorities have to be right 100% of the time, and those who would do harm or try to overthrow the government, or do these attacks. They just have to be right or get it right and complete it one time before disaster strikes.
Real quick before we go, and I know we only have like a minute or two, Luigi Mangione is going to try to use the psychiatric defense. Do you think that is going to be successful? Is that going to cause a problem for prosecutors?
Yeah, this is called the extreme emotional disturbance defense. It's a New York specific tool to basically argue, look, I did it, but I wasn't fully in control of myself due to these overwhelming subjective emotions. Now, a jury still has to determine whether that was objectively reasonable, but in a jurisdiction like Manhattan, it could absolutely give the jury something to hang their hat on if they're looking to give him a lower charge. It's not a complete defense, but it does get an instruction and gives the jury the opportunity to reach a manslaughter verdict versus the second-degree murder.
Is that defense normally used in murder cases, or is it normally
rare.
for lesser charges?
It's rare. It's rare because prosecutors have so much evidence, like they do in this case, of planning and coordination that shows he had this specific intention and he wasn't necessarily overwhelmed by his emotions. But this is a Manhattan jury, and I would say in a sane legal world, a rational legal world, this would not have much chance. But it is Manhattan, and so we just don't know. If you just get one or two jurors on there that have sympathy towards this guy, it could be at least a hung jury.
Wow. Phil, if people wanted to look up your podcast, things you're doing, where can they go?
Yeah, we are the MK True Crime Show. Just go to mktruecrime.com and you can subscribe anywhere you get your podcast, and of course on YouTube, and find me on X at Phil Holloway ESQ.
Phil Holloway, thank you so much for joining us, breaking this down. We really appreciate the time.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Yeah, one of the five was from Missouri. It was from Kidder, Missouri, about 50 miles northeast of Kansas City. Daniel Eskridge, one of the five. And of them, maybe the oldest, 32 years old. So this is just kind of the beginning of that one. But starting this revolution garbage, I mean, look how much destruction that type of mindset has begun when it comes to trying to kill and assassinate people you don't like. Just absolutely terrible. Joining us after the break is a local attorney, an activist, and concerned parents' reaction to the FTC filing a lawsuit against the World Professional Association of Transgender Health. We're going to bring in John after the break. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Mark Reardon on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident southbound 270 past Olive. And watch for the right lane to be blocked through there. So, of course, traffic is starting to stack up a bit behind it. Now, there is a huge jam on eastbound 70. There was an accident really close to Forestell, and it has left us with a parking lot jam back past Wright City and not quite to Warrenton, but ooh. Now, westbound is a little slow in that area, but again, it's eastbound that is truly awful. Now, westbound 70 out of downtown is fine. Little bit of volume between 370 and K. And we've got some moderate volume on westbound 40, Kings Highway out through McCausland. Eastbound a little slow at Big Bend. And westbound slowing at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Moderate volume in both directions, 44 at 270. And southbound 270, of course, it's jammed behind the Olive accident, but still some volume, 64 through Doherty Ferry. Now, on the Illinois side, we are jammed 5570 eastbound at 203 and on the Poplar Street Bridge, and eastbound 64 slows at 255. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, we've got a great offer from Stuart at Stuart's American Mortgage for those of you who want to get off the sidelines and purchase a home. Maybe it's the rates that have been keeping you away. Well, Stuart's going to offer you for a limited time a 1% discount on your interest rate for the first year. So for the first year of a new 30-year mortgage, that rate is going to be 1% lower plus the bagel loan. So that's a really great deal. If you're interested in refining and you're someone that says, I can't refi, I have a low rate. Well, think about it. And Stewie can walk you through all this. I'm going to give you his personal cell phone here in a moment. With the bagel loan, you pay no appraisal fees, no closing costs, no title fees, no broker fees. You're going to get with him directly. He and his son Jordan handle all the loans. You're not going to be shuffled from one person to another. They can close you in as little as 10 days. That's a huge advantage between other companies and Stewie. So get on the horn, Google the bagel loan, call his cell, 314-324-4440, NMLS number 226715. Tell him that I sent you along and take advantage of that limited time offer, a 1% discount on your interest rate for the first year.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
I'm John Morgan. There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Reason number 3. First, all lawyers are not the same. If my family had an injury case and I couldn't hire us, there are only about 3 to 4% of the lawyers out there that I would hire. And here's why. Most of them rarely, if ever, go to trial. They just take the last best offer. Hell, you can do that yourself. Do this. If you're looking for a lawyer, Google Morgan & Morgan results and see what comes up. It may shock you. Then Google the firm you're thinking of hiring and do the same. That may shock you as well. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. We won a lot. 30 billion and counting. Morgan & Morgan, or thepeople.com. Who would I hire? I'd hire us.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
It is 3:32. This time check is brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
From the gateway to the airwaves. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
And welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Mark Reardon. If you want to find me online, at Ryan Recker. Joining us now is a local attorney, activist, and concerned parent. We're going to talk about the FTC in a file that was made by them today, a lawsuit against the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. John, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate the time.
Thank you. Thank you for discussing this. It's an important topic.
So part of the allegations from the Federal Trade Commission is that this organization, the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, is that the organization provided the means for medical providers to make false and unsubstantiated claims to patients in order to sell pediatric medical transition services. So on the basis, the claim the FTC is making, do you think they have a rightful claim here?
Yes, the FTC has put a lot of time into this over the past year. It's a priority of the Trump administration, and they have done a lot of research. They were helped out significantly in some prior litigation a year or two ago, actually a couple of years ago. The state of Alabama was in litigation because Alabama passed a law prohibiting these procedures for children. As part of the lawsuits against Alabama and other states, activists would say, well, WPATH has said this is safe and medically necessary care. So Alabama asked the court if it could do discovery on WPATH to determine how WPATH formulates its standards. And what they found was shocking. And it's now a matter of public record, and the FTC incorporated much of that information in its claim.
Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of testimony from people, and sometimes you hear some of the testimony of people as adults saying that they were tricked as children and what they were told were lies. And you hear some of these common things. They weren't told the severity of the surgeries. They were not told that it was irreversible, the cosmetic surgeries and things that they were doing to their bodies. That medical providers even were lying on forms in order to facilitate this type of treatment. Depending on where they were, they may have been falsifying official medical documents. And you hear these stories too about how parents are told by these doctors that if you don't allow your child to get these services done, then we are going to put in a recommendation for you to lose your children. It's akin to if you refuse this type of treatment, it's looked at as child abuse and you're not fit to be a parent of this child. And all of these things, these surgeries, some of them done under threat of losing your children, they go back and look at this and they're so regretful of the actions that they were made. So I'm guessing in some of these filings you're referring to, you're hearing the exact same thing.
Yes, I mean, I am in contact with parents who have had this happen to them in both red states and blue states, and also the FTC incorporated this type of testimony in their complaint. And it all goes back to WPATH, because WPATH has created this fiction that there is a medical consensus, a consensus of, the vast majority of medical professionals that these procedures, this treatment, will prevent your child from committing suicide, that it is safe, that it is reversible, that it is not experimental, that these procedures are backed by evidence, none of which is true. And the FTC methodically goes through, point by point, looking at the false and poorly designed studies that WPATH relies on. It looks at WPATH's history of literally squelching evidence that contradicts its viewpoint. One of the most damning bits of evidence in the 70-page complaint is that WPATH paid Johns Hopkins University to do systematic reviews, which is a review of other studies. And what they wanted Johns Hopkins to do was to say there is a strong and large body of evidence to support these procedures. But halfway into that project, Johns Hopkins came back to WPATH and said, the evidence is really weak. These studies are not good. You cannot say you have strong evidence to back up your position that kids should be subject to these procedures. WPATH invoked its contract to try to prevent Hopkins from publishing its results. It took over a year. Hopkins was able to publish some of its results. And then WPATH, in its standards of care, states it is impossible to do a systematic review in this area of medicine because it's so complex. But this is after they had paid Johns Hopkins to do exactly that, and they got results they didn't like. That's what lawyers call a lie, a big fat lie.
So what kind of trouble could this organization, you say WPATH, which is the World Professional Association of Transgender Health.
Yes.
A lot of times when things like this come out, the government may settle for, okay, we're not going to be making decisions based on this faulty lie that they've been spreading. But ultimately, I think the FTC wants more than that. What kind of trouble do you think WPATH could be in?
So important thing to keep in mind is the FTC only has civil enforcement powers, which means they can seek injunctions to force WPATH to, cease the conduct that's been found to be illegal. They can extract, monetary penalties, but they can't put people in jail. They can't enforce criminal penalties. However, like almost every other executive agency that has civil enforcement power, if they find evidence that they think merits criminal investigation, they can refer that to the Department of Justice. So they will be looking for the big win here. They will be looking for evidence that could be referred for criminal enforcement. The other thing to keep in mind about WPATH is WPATH does not operate as an island. Its members are planted within every other medical organization, the American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Endocrine Society. Every one of these medical organizations has committees focused on transgender health, some of them on transgender health, quote unquote, for kids. They all have WPATH members. WPATH uses this spider web of connections to protect its reputation. None of these organizations will contradict WPATH because of the overlapping membership. That, to many attorneys who are involved in this, looks like a RICO situation. And I know some of the FTC attorneys who are involved in this, and they will be looking for evidence of that as well.
Well, when you talk about this web and you have these affiliates working at all these different medical providers, whatever it may be, first thing I think of is if they're taking some sort of guidance from someone that's telling them to perhaps falsify documents, stretch the truth. Now you're talking about fraud and cross interstate lines. The Department of Justice, I feel like, would be able to use information like that and run with it. It almost seems like that would be a benefit for them because now they have not just one centralized organization, but many others who represent some pretty large healthcare systems.
Oh, WPATH does exactly that. They have numerous public statements, public, continuing education programs for doctors in which they, quote, educate doctors on how to falsify billing records to get these procedures paid for if the state or the insurance company will not pay for gender-related procedures. It's very brazen because they always assumed they would never be investigated for it. And it's all out there in the public. You can find it with a Google search. And so yes, it is. It's shocking to say that somebody would be so open about committing medical billing fraud, but that's what they've done. And that's a separate issue from the fraud they've committed by convincing families that they need to subject their kids to these procedures. So WPATH has quite a few things that they will be defending in court for the foreseeable future. And a lot of parents and activists like myself are looking forward to what the FTC and other government agencies might learn as they dig down and do more investigating, because there will be emails that are embarrassing and incriminating for WPATH. There will be things that have been said among their members when they thought nobody was looking. If I were an attorney for WPATH, I would be pretty worried about what's going to turn up in discovery in this case.
Sure. And I think about the people that would defend this sort of action, and they'll use the same talking points that a WPATH would inform them or at least have embedded in them to use. What do you think it's going to take? What do you think people need to see in order for them to break past those talking points and say, okay, we've done a pretty bad service to children here?
Yeah, I talk about that a lot with other activists. It's a very complicated issue. It's very emotional. Many of the parents and medical professionals believe they are doing what's in the best interest of the child. And in many cases, it's driven by this need to protect a kid that they think is a victim or, specifically a victim of bullying. They feel like they're stepping in to be the protector to help this kid express their true self. I think many doctors are starting to back away. You see hospitals, you see doctors. A case in Colorado just this past week. The state of Colorado has declared it is a constitutional right under their state constitution for transgender people, quote unquote, to get health care. But the federal government has been penalizing, or said they will be penalizing, hospitals who provide this care. So a state court in Colorado told a large children's hospital they had to continue providing transgender treatments for children, but none of the doctors who had been doing it were willing to restart doing the procedures. Now, what they claimed is they were afraid of criminal prosecution. But I think they're using that as an excuse. A lot of us activists think they're using that as an excuse to quietly back away from something that they now realize was harmful and is going to have consequences they never warned children or families about. I think there will be no smoking gun that changes everybody's mind. I think it's going to take a lot of activism, a lot of public education, a lot of people speaking out, whistleblowers who have worked in these clinics and seen what actually happens to eventually get through. But at some point, you will see some platforms in the old legacy media finally start to report on the harms that have been caused. And I think once it becomes permissible to question this, that's when the house of cards is going to fall down. Somebody is going to have to be brave and say, you know what, there are real questions about this and they need to be investigated, not just on social media or in alternative media, but on the big mainstream platforms that a lot of the country still relies on for news.
That'll be the day. I can't.
It may not be as soon as I would like or you would like, but that I think is what it'll take.
Right. The FTC just yesterday announcing that lawsuit against the World Professional Association of Transgender Health, WPATH. John, thank you so much for coming on and discussing it with us. We really appreciate the time.
Thank you. Thank you for talking about it.
And it's a big step. It really is. And when you have the federal government, FTC, and who knows how long before the Department of Justice steps in based on the way he described it, the spider webs of these affiliates that are spread out across the country. I mean, now you're talking RICO. Now you're talking about falsifying medical insurance documents. Now you're talking fraud through multi-state entities. This is just the beginning, the tip of the iceberg. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Mark Reardon on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Crews are on the scene of an accident on northbound 270 north of 44. I just put it on X at Susan6768, and we can see a jam behind it building and quickly. So they're going to try to work to get this off to the right shoulder. Now, southbound 270 already has some slow pockets. That's from Page down through 44. Westbound 64 is lined up. It's Kings Highway out through McCausland. And there was an accident reported really near Research Park. So expect a brief delay there. Then things open up again. Huge jam on eastbound 70 if you're headed for Forestell. Accident out there causing a massive delay almost back to Warrenton. Westbound drivers are slowing as well, but not nearly, of course, as bad as eastbound. And westbound 40 lines up at Kings Highway. We've got volume eastbound on the Poplar Street Bridge and eastbound 64 at 255. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, St. Louis, this is Brian Kilmeade. You know, I always have a great time when I visit you guys, and I'm coming back this November. So join me, Brian Kilmeade, by getting tickets for the show at The Factory at 971talk.com/events.
Hi, Sandy. What's that?
I'm reading up on this Amendment 4 on the August ballot.
What's 4?
Amendment 4 absurdly creates a new un-American minority veto power, but only for ballot issues that we citizens put on the ballot.
Don't they say it'll protect conservative ideas?
Truth gets in the way of their story. Amendment 4 would mean as few as 5% of the most liberal statewide voters in one congressional district could veto any good conservative idea or reform, even when a big majority supports it.
That does sound un-American. How did that get on the ballot?
The politicians put it there, and it would empower a small minority of liberals. They could stop funding for police, stop tax cuts, or any other common sense conservative policy we support.
Only 5%? One district? That would make it nearly impossible to pass needed reforms or rein in politicians.
Yep, Amendment 4 is a misguided power grab by politicians. I'm voting no on Amendment 4.
Right. I'm not giving up my constitutional rights. It's a hard no on 4.
Paid for by Missourians for Fair Governance.
You have any evergreens in your yard? It might be time for a health checkup. Mark Cox here for Hanson's Tree Service. My friend Chad Hanson tells me he's been seeing a lot of evergreens dying due to environmental issues from the last couple of years. A winter drought 2 years ago, combined by a very wet spring, is wreaking havoc on a lot of these evergreens. Let Hanson's Tree Service help. Call them today at 636-379-1830 or online at hansonstree.com.
A common question I receive is,
How is the market right now? It just seems so volatile. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. If you want to buy or sell but feel overwhelmed by the whiplash of the market, then let's talk. With over 23 years as a broker, I have the exact experience you need to help you navigate this tricky market. Call me at 314-441-4444. 314-441 all fours. And remember, why pay more than two?
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
And welcome back to the Mark Reardon Show. I'm Brian Recker, filling in for Mark. And I tell you what, I think about these different things. I saw something weird in my neighborhood the other day. And we're on the live video feed right now, the Mark Reardon Show. You can go look us up, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, things like that. Go subscribe on YouTube at Mark Talk. You can look for him there too. And our producer, Johnny, is up, and I see him. I want you to give me a thumbs up if what I'm about to tell you is weird or not weird. There's a guy that walks around our neighborhood listening to music, which is not strange, but he listens to TV theme songs exclusively. So instead of listening to I'm just going to put on some Beatles and walk around, enjoy the nice weather, I'm going to listen to my Spotify, whatever, playlist of Taylor Swift or the Beach Boys, whatever. He decides to pop on Spotify and listen to television theme songs, their full-length edition, and that's all I've ever heard him listening to when he walks by your house. So is that strange or not strange?
This is a thumbs up if I think it's weird.
Is it weird or is it not weird?
I think it's kind of weird.
Kind of.
Do you think it's weird?
I think it's extremely weird. Have you ever thought in your car, man, I got to listen to something right now. I want to pop on the theme song for Golden Girls.
Well, I haven't thought that, but I've listened to when I was a kid. One of the big shows I watched was Drake and Josh, and I loved that theme song. That's really the only one that I've ever played in my car. It's I want to listen to this again, but I really wouldn't go around walking, listening to a playlist of my childhood theme songs. I'd probably get nostalgia out of it, but it's not something I would willingly go out and do.
See how many words you remember.
Yeah.
Drake and Josh, I don't remember that theme song. It was after my time. Could you sing a little bit? Maybe I could recognize it that way.
No, that I am not doing that on air.
Just so people know what you're talking about. I think there's a lot of people that don't know.
I could probably find a little.
No. I just want to hear you sing it. I think that's all we would really need for something like this.
It's called I Found a Way. It's called I Found a Way.
Okay. Well, there's some great TV theme songs I'll mention the Golden Girls again, the Thank You for Being a Friend or the Cheers theme song. There's been times where my daughter is going to bed at night and she'll sing a song, and ultimately it'll probably be a TV theme song because those are, for whatever reason, the songs I know all the words to. And they're only a couple of minutes long, if I can stretch it out there. Another thing I saw, and this was kind of interesting, the CEO of NVIDIA, he's been around a lot and he's very recognizable. He was talking about how we need to adapt to the way artificial intelligence is changing our lives. As Americans, we are naturally slow to adapt. And this was the analogy he said. He said in an interview to the Associated Press, to engage it, when automobiles came, we needed to create a new social norm. Back in the old days, people said that cars killed children. What is it about cars that would hurt and hunt down a child to kill them? Well, the reason for that was because in the older days, when kids were growing up, they used to play in the streets. And when I was growing up, they used to play in the streets. When cars came along, you obviously can't play in streets anymore. So he's using this as the analogy that the way that we live our lives today is essentially the way kids used to play in the streets. And eventually something came along that made it not so safe for us to play in the streets, and we had to get out of the streets so the cars can go through. I think he meant that as a comforting thing, but that sounds like a threat to me. That sounds like our technology is literally going to kill you unless you get on board, just like cars and kids on the streets. Maybe something got lost in translation there. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Mark Reardon on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We have got some issues on the roads. If you are northbound on 270, there was an accident, and it's just a little bit north of 44. But they've got the 3 left lanes blocked. So, of course, there is a big jam building behind it. And southbound drivers are slowing for a look. And that goes back really through Page. Heaviest, though, through Manchester. Now, we've also got a jam on 70 eastbound. It's just a parking lot between Warrenton to a point almost at Forestell because of an accident there. And westbound traffic a little slow, but it's eastbound that's a nightmare. And westbound 70, moderate volume in the O'Fallon area, right at K and again at Wentzville. 64 is Kings Highway out through McCausland, but there was an accident near Research Park, so a little bit of a delay there and at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. 55, some moderate volume as you approach Herculaneum in the construction zone. And on the Illinois side, some volume eastbound on the Poplar and eastbound 64 at 255 due to road work. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, I want to talk about ThrottleNet. George Rosenthal does a segment with us every Tuesday called Tech Talk Tuesday. I was finally over to their building and I took a tour and I got to see, firsthand how they do it with all the monitors. If there's a company out there, they do everything IT, right? They're not an internet provider. They're going to protect you and your IT, make sure you're not, in a situation where you could have the wrong click that cost you a lot of money or a hack or anything like that. Ransomware attacks, right? We know that those happen. No client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So if you are looking for a great company here in St. Louis, and they're very proud of their under 90-second response time for business IT support. When I was in the office, I saw the monitors, and if the call goes past 90 seconds, all these red lights go off, and they make sure that they're right on top of it. They want to take great care of you. So go to throttlenet.com/971. That gets you a free baseline IT security audit. Gives you a great starting point, and then you know what to do. You're going to hire them because they do such great work here in St. Louis. throttlenet.com/971. Tell them we sent you over. ThrottleNet.
It's Mark Cox. Zero Res wants to help you clean your home. Big summer savings this week only. Get 3 rooms clean for $129. Get the 4th room for free. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and ask for the 97.1 special.
Cards fans ready to dress for the occasion? Well, Friday, June 26th, as the Cardinals take on the Miami Marlins, you'll get a brand new all-over Prince shirt. But that's just the start. You'll also get the matching shorts, too. It's not just a shirt, but a full summer set that brings a tropical twist to game night and makes waves in the stands. Available in medium and XL while supplies last. More details and tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
The weekend starts here. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou with $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at Cardinals.com.
Hey, St. Louis, need to sell your home fast? The Gelman team with the XP Realty will make you an instant cash offer in just 24 hours. No showings, no repairs, no waiting, no drama. Visit thegelmanteam.com to see what your home can sell for fast. Or give the Gelman team a call at 314-336-1991.
When you ride, you feel the freedom of the open road. But when the road turns dangerous and an accident happens, the pain and confusion can be overwhelming. If you're injured in a motorcycle accident, you need someone who understands. At Kaufman Townsley, we're your St. Louis neighbors. We live here, work here, and we know how important your recovery is. We'll fight for you so you can focus on healing. Kaufman Townsley, real people, real results. Call 314-777-7777.
KFTK FM Florissant.
An Odyssey station.
Voicing concerns about the deal. I'm Carmen Roberts, Fox News. Israel is not happy about the U.S.-Iran entry to end the war, which it had no part and Grafton. Vice President J.D. Vance with this response.
If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world.
The Vice President held a White House press conference today. Iran's Supreme Leader warned in a statement today that Tehran will not bow to what he calls excessive demand from the U.S. in future negotiations. The deal is also drawing bipartisan criticism. Republican Senator John Cornyn and Democratic Senator Chris Coons expressing their concerns.
There's nothing to stop the regime from beginning to block the Strait of Hormuz again.
What a colossal strategic failure. Literally everything that President Trump said he was trying to accomplish with this war has failed to accomplish.
On the bright side, a huge celebration and ticker tape parade in New York City for the beloved Knicks and the NBA championship. Head coach Mike Brown told fans,
The belief in each other. It doesn't matter who's up locked on. Guys could be Jordan Clarkson. He didn't play for 2 months. He stuck with it. His teammates believed in him. He believed in the process. They believed in each other. And we all held each other accountable.
and thousands of fans packed the streets for the parade up New York's famous Canyon of Heroes in the downtown. And stocks ended up today after losing ground yesterday on the Fed's interest rate comments. The Dow gained 72 points, the S&P 500 up 80, and the Nasdaq rallied almost 2%, up 496 points. America Listening, Fox News.
On top of the latest forecast with America's Weather Team in the palm of your hands.
America's Weather Center.
Fox weather updates throughout your busy day, every day.
Ready? We'll be out there for one more day. Temperatures 30 degrees above average.
With the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hands with the Fox Weather Podcast. Present, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com. Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
The northwest flow is back in control. Nothing bad this afternoon. A mix of clouds and sunshine. A breezy 79 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy. Nice evening, nice overnight. 62 Friday, plenty of sun. 84 degrees. Saturday, partly sunny, 86. Saturday night and Sunday, back to scattered showers and thunderstorms. Some heavy downpours possible. High temperature Sunday, 85. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Mark.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
And welcome back. I'm Ryan Ricker, filling in for Mark Reardon. Happy Thursday to you. It's sort of being on social media right now because you could be looking up news stories and then some random person tweets something that sounds like breaking news until you realize they're completely lying to try to give everyone a hard time and to try to make things worse. And there is so much going on with this Iran deal. And just during the break there, I was kind of scrolling and looking and we'll have to see how that goes. I know we'll talk more about that. We have some more clips I want to play. But before we do this, there was a story that I wanted to mention to Sue. And Sue, I feel like you would be someone uniquely appreciative of what happened to me when I got caught red-handed in 4K because of Zillow, the real estate website.
Okay.
Red-handed. Now, Zillow is one of those good things, bad things at the same time. It's like I'm sure there's a lot of clients that you've worked with over the years that come to you and they say, see, my home's worth this much. Zillow tells me so. And you have to break it to them that it's not that simple.
Nope.
And thank goodness it's not that simple. Because if you just based everything on Zillow, think about how much money people would lose over time too. It goes both ways. So when we sold our house, when we moved to Michigan, You pack everything up, and you can understand there's a lot of boxes when you have a family of 4. Lots of kids stuff, a lot of things, but mostly stuff that's not mine, I'll put it that way. Lots of things I just don't remember what happened to. And there's a few things for the kids' rooms my wife really liked. There's these certain shelves she really liked.
Were they
And when
attached
you're
to the wall, or were they?
they're on the wall, yeah. I mean, but
So
just hanging.
Okay.
They're not like real shelves. They're like decorative
Decorative
children's stuff.
Yes, but okay.
So she really liked them though. And she's like, oh, because you have a certain theme for your room and you want to keep things for the same theme. And so when we started to unbox things here in Michigan, she said, whatever happened to those shelves? In the back of my mind, I thought I probably tossed those things because I just didn't have space. You get to a certain point, and you're like, I don't care if I have to throw everything away. I just want to be done with this moving process. The value of those things are not worth my sanity right now. So I'm thinking I probably tossed them, but I don't know if I lied. That might be stretching the truth. I said, well, honey, they're probably in a box somewhere. We just haven't found them yet. They're here somewhere. They might be in the basement. They might be this. So this is, 4 years ago, whatever it was when we moved here.
I see.
Fast forward to an alert on my phone, and the alert said, hey, the house you sold in St. Louis is up for sale again. Like, whoa, that's kind of fun. Let's see what kind of changes the owner made to the house. And we're flipping through the 4K Zillow photos, and there are the shelves in the kids' room. And my wife,
Ryan Recker.
I was on trial immediately. She was a prosecutor, and she said, Exhibit A, and she stuck that phone in my face, and she said, what is this? And I knew I was busted.
Well, yeah, there's no way out of that.
So the people that sold our house, if they could have just taken those off the wall, I would have not been in trouble. But there they were sitting there, still there.
The nerd. The side note, I mean, if those things were bolted to the wall, obviously you can't do it. But if they're just hanging there like pictures.
Yeah. Just hanging like pictures.
Oh, boy.
You ever notice someone getting busted by Zillow?
Well, not quite that nailed. I mean, that's a pretty good one. Because what else are you going to leave behind? Because if it's anything personal, they'll, it would be gone.
Yeah.
But that's something that you could have actually taken off the wall and thrown in a box. But I also get it. When you're moving, you're just like, I can't. You throw out stuff that you wouldn't normally because you just can't take it anymore.
Yeah. I totally underestimated how much time it would take me to move everything.
Oh
And
my
I thought,
gosh.
I'll be able to crank this out. I have
Yes.
most stuff packed. And I mean, I had a lot of stuff pre-packed, but I thought, I'll just do this. I ended up packing until like 2 in the morning.
Yes.
And then I drove straight from St. Louis to Detroit.
Yep.
And then I had to meet the people here to unload the stuff. So I think I was up for like 40 hours straight because of that.
Yes.
Because I totally underestimated it.
Oh my gosh. And you will do that again. If you move again, you will underestimate again. It's just
Please
how it
don't.
is. Oh, it's annoying.
I can't think of it. The advice I give to people, a few things. One, spend $400 on boxes and just overbox it and just box. Don't leave anything
Yes,
loose.
agreed.
And I also heard of people that have a color coding system where they put stickers on the boxes
Yes.
based on what room it goes. And
Yes.
that way they don't have to inform people where the
Genius.
box goes.
It's genius. We only moved across town, and I had the same experience. We had to do it in multiple things because it's just too much. And I had Jane Duker's old boxes because she just moved. So I would take one in the kitchen and scratch it out with a Sharpie and say bedroom. So it was a complete mess.
Oh
I
man,
feel your pain. I really do.
Do you know what else hurts? And this happened when we moved to St. Louis. The things that my wife was holding on to that easily could have been tossed. I remember on opening up a box and it was used Starburst wrappers. And I said, what? Are we moving a box? It was a shoebox of Starburst wrappers.
Why?
He said, oh yeah, back when I was in college, we used to make bracelets out of these. So I saved them all. And I don't know why I still have them.
Yeah.
I said, are you kidding me?
Pit.
I was moving this. I was taking time and effort and consideration, and I thought I was doing a good thing. So right then and there, I realized anything my wife packs could probably be tossed, and I'm gonna have to think twice about it.
I don't know about anything, but yes, the Starburst wrappers for sure. There's something I was looking for the other day, and I can't find it still. Now I can't even remember what I was looking for, but I thought it's got to be here. And you just search through the boxes, and I still can't find it.
I know. It could be gone forever.
Where
I
is
know. It just disappears. It's so strange how
it?
it
It is
disappears.
so strange.
And, if you lose one thing, and my wife, if there's other things that she said we haven't been able to find, and she brings it up all the time, and she will not stop. Like, hey, remember that record player we had? Whatever happened to that? I'll say for the 20th time, I don't know. Please stop holding it over my head. You don't understand how hard it is to move everything.
What? She
Things
don't
just
move.
go
What is
missing.
it all on you thing?
I know.
She's packing Starburst wrappers for heaven's sake.
Yeah, I know. Starburst wrappers.
Well, look, she's doing real packing too, and that's just it. You're both doing it, and then if somebody grabs it and puts it in the who knows? Who knows?
And she's taking care of the kids, which, is
Exactly.
probably much harder than packing boxes up.
Yes.
I understand the different roles that we have, and she can't do what I can, and I can't do what she can. There's absolutely no doubt about that in my mind. You
Fair
have to
enough.
complement each other in that sense. But
Good.
yeah. But the moment I say something like in her lane, she'll instantly pull out. Then why don't you do it? If you think you're so good at it, why don't you do it? I don't think I could ever say that to her.
Nope.
Because I don't want her
advise
doing
it.
those things.
Nope.
No, boy. So we have some Sue's News coming up. This is one of my favorite segments. Looking forward to that.
Good.
And so much more to get to on the show today. And we got so many more clips from President Trump, J.D. Vance, talking about this Rand deal. And as it turns out, we just heard from Fox News. They were doing the parade in New York. They were looking at the Knicks and all the fun that was going on there. Apparently, the Knicks will be making a White House appearance. Good for them to do that. So many NBA teams have decided to skip that tradition. So we got a lot to get to on the show. I'm Ryan Ranker, filling in for Mark Reardon on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Crews have been working with an accident on northbound 270 just past 44. And it started in the left lanes, and they've been able to take it from the 3 left lanes off to the right side and mostly on the right shoulder. So traffic will hopefully start thinning out through there. Now, southbound wasn't as bad, but it's a longer, slow go, and it goes back through Olive. Now, we've got an accident on westbound 64, and it's out at Research Park. So look for heavy traffic back across the Boone Bridge. And in the city, it's slow, Kings Highway out through McCausland. Now, 70 eastbound is still jammed. This is from Warrenton to just past Wright City. There was a serious accident near Forestell, and it really caused a huge jam. If you are headed into Illinois, we're fine on the approach, but there's some slow-moving traffic. 55-64 at the 70 split, and eastbound 64 at 255. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call them for their 26-point tune-up. One price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Always look for the genuine, the original red ribbon of Overhead Door. Schedule online, overheaddoorsplewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
The Gatlin Brothers and Crystal Gale are coming to the Family Arena for one magical night of country and Christmas, December 17th. It's the Gatlin Brothers Farewell Tour, and Crystal Gale is joining them to celebrate an evening of country's greatest hits and beautiful Christmas music. Don't miss the Gatlin Brothers and Crystal Gale. Tickets are available at the Carroll House Furniture box office at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster.
One of rock's legendary voices, the original voice of Foreigner, Lou Gramm, The Release Tour. Saturday, October 10th, the Family Arena with special guest John Waite. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena and Ticketmaster. Don't miss the original voice of Foreigner, Lou Gramm in concert. New album released coming March 27th.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, Dad, what causes drains to clog?
Grease, hair, soap scum, and tree roots.
Tree root?
This town has old pipes and big trees. They find each other.
They grow inside pipes?
They bust into pipes.
Whoa.
Once they're in, water stops flowing.
Can we fix it?
A big green grasser machine can fix any clog.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeServices.com.
Data centers don't wait, and neither should your supply chain. From power and connectivity to racks and critical power, Graybar brings the products and the experience data centers need now. And with deep inventory and logistics expertise, we keep projects moving from first delivery to final install. With hundreds of locations and a nationwide delivery fleet, we help you bring facilities online, on time, and on budget. Yep, Graybar does that.
How We Made Your Mother is a rewatch podcast that looks back episode by episode at the hit TV show How I Met Your Mother. It's hosted by me, Josh Radnor, along with series co-creator Craig Thomas.
In seasons 1 and 2, we were joined by Neil Patrick Harris, Kobe Smulders, Bryan Cranston, Ashley Williams, Wayne Brady, Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey, Joe Manganiello, and my brilliant co-creator Carter Bays, and now we are diving into season 3.
So whether it's your 50th rewatch or your first time through, follow How We Made Your Mother wherever you get your podcast.
You're listening to the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Mark Reardon Show. I'm Brian Riker, filling in for Mark. In about, let's say, 15 minutes from now, we'll be joined by Mark Sarraille. He is the Fox Nation host of The Unsung of Arlington, a former, well, I guess retired Navy SEAL, and we're going to talk to him about this memorandum of understanding with Iran, get his take on it. But before we do that, let's do Sue's News.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment. It's not clear messaging.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
Well, it's a big day in history. 41 years ago today, in 1985, Weird Al Yankovic released his third album, Dare to Be Stupid, featuring his Madonna parody, Like a Surgeon, but also this parody from the Kinks. I think it was.
I met him in a club down in Dick. Doubles all the time. A giant made soul. S-O-D-A.
Can you yeah?
Is this Star Wars one?
Yep.
Yo, now that's yes.
Oh my goodness! Yes, we were talking about this not that long ago. How long ago was it, Fred? Like last week?
Yeah, I think so.
And so the Weird Al version is Yoda instead of Lola, and it amuses me. Wow.
You know, I don't think I caught on to Weird Al right away.
Did
I
you?
Just thought he was.
I
just thought he was weirder than he was Al.
Oh, well, that's true. And he is very clever, but it's not like we'd go out and buy an album full of it or download it on you. But maybe people do. I don't know.
I like his Michael Jackson one that was, to the tune of Bad. It was Fat thing.
Oh, that's right. The video of that was something. Yeah, that's fair.
His whole catalog is fantastic. I like all of his stuff.
Oh, it's very creative. But would you listen to it all at once, like in a row?
Yeah, I mean, I listened to an album. I had albums of his growing up, and I think if we were to look at how many albums he's sold in his career, it would shock everyone right now.
Agreed. Fred, is that not, does it surprise you that Brian Record would listen to that? Because it does not surprise me.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, thank you. And 26 years ago today, in the year 2000, Tiger Woods won the U.S. Open for the first time, and he did it by a record how many strokes? Do you remember, Fred?
Let's say 16.
What do you say, Brian?
That seems like a lot. I was going to go lower. 11.
15. Right in the middle.
Wow.
15 strokes. Man, I remember seeing the replays of that. I might have actually seen that because, I like to tune it at the end of the Open when the good stuff is really getting down to the wire. And then he won it again 2 other years in 2002 and 2008. But 15 strokes. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, it's also National Go Fishing Day. I want to share that. And for Fred, it's National Splurge Day.
All right.
You're supposed to break out the rainy day funds and go spend.
That's right. A large soda.
That's right.
Supersize it.
That's right.
Are you going garage sailing this weekend, Fred?
Oh, I am, of course.
Okay. Because Fred gets some really interesting stuff.
I was at an estate sale last week, and I ran into a prepper who was there ahead of me in line. And he just goes to sales and buys things that will survive should we all go dark.
Seriously?
And he says it's likely to happen. He had me scared.
What did he buy? Do you know?
Tons of extension cords.
Oh.
And just all sorts of stuff like canned goods. He was just buying anything he could find.
Did he
Extension cords for the power we won't have?
Well, I think he'll have
I think he has his
generator.
Generac generator.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's got it all.
Yeah, so he just store gas and put that in there. Do you think, did he tell you that? That's what I'm doing. I'm a prepper. Or did he just look at him and go, oh, he's a prepper?
Well, I could have guessed, but no, he told me. I asked him, what is he looking for when he comes to these sales? And he said, well, I'm a prepper.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really kind of fun.
I've got a Father's Day theme going this week. Father's Day is Sunday, and we've got a bit from comedian John Heffron talking about some of the things dads do.
I don't know what kind of swing set you guys had growing up, but my swing set sucked, right? Because my dad put it together for us, and every time we swung on it, one pole would come right out of the grass. Because your dad did such a crap job cementing it in. You'd actually swing on it and see the swing set above you. Bees and wasps would always come out of that top tube. While I'm getting gas, his dad pulls up, and you can tell the guy's on vacation because he's got all these big dad veins popping out of his face. He's in this SUV. His kids stay in the far back. One kid is playing a video game. The other kid is flipping through satellite TV. And the whole time I'm thinking, holy crap, people, can you imagine what it'd be like traveling with your own family in that situation? Could you imagine being so far back from your dad that he couldn't smack you at any given time? I hope kids are just taunting their dads from back there. Hey, Dad, we just spilled something. Car company should make a hand that goes on the seat in front of the kid. Just goes like that. Dad could have a little buddy hits. Pop, 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 pop. What?
That entertained me.
So
My
great.
dad did put up a swing set back in the day, and sure enough, when you got to the top of the slide and you hit the, to put your hand on the swing part of it, wasps came out.
Oh, yeah.
And
Exactly.
we run like mad for the house, and inevitably somebody would get stung, mostly me. It's a thing.
All those things happen. It popping out of the ground, and you knew your limits on the thing before it would fall over. You knew your limits, and it could hop a little, and you knew you'd be safe, but you knew that you never crossed over a certain speed.
Oh my gosh, that is 100% accurate. Now the kids, I think, have like wood, so there's not as many wasps. Fred, did you have a swing set?
As a kid, I did not, but we had the wooden ones when our boys were little.
Yeah, and those seem to be better grounded.
They're heavier.
Yeah, that must be it. Because the hollow metal wasn't a good plan. Somebody on social media asked, Dad, what do you actually want for Father's Day? Fred, what would you say?
Other than the obvious sporting stuff, I don't know. I think maybe I just want to FaceTime with the boys.
Oh, that's nice. What about you, Ryan?
I want to be left alone. So
That's on here.
is that right? I want to be able to go to the basement and get a large pizza and watch a movie and not hear one kid complain about anything for an afternoon.
Ooh. They don't get that specific. They send stuff like spending time with family, not spending time with family, doing an activity outdoors like take a hike, or personal time for hobbies. We'll put you in the movie in the basement as a personal hobby. I don't know what else to call that. Okay, Venus and Serena Williams are going to play doubles at Wimbledon for the first time in a decade. And they did it last time in 2016, which would be a decade ago if you do the math, when they picked up their 6th title. And somehow, I don't know how wild cards work. Maybe you do. Maybe you know this, Fred, but they got a wild card this year. And I thought, well, that's interesting. What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know that.
Do they have like X amount and then they just give some, at their own discretion? I don't know. Wimbledon, by the way, begins on June the 29th, if that's something you'd like to watch. We've got a new report out on the occupations that are the highest and lowest for divorce rates. And the jobs with the lowest are actuary. Actuaries very rarely get divorced. Then it's physical scientists, IT scientists, software developers, physical therapists, doctors, clergy, pharmacists, and this is very specific, atmospheric scientists, and then oil and mining engineers. And the top 20 also include, I guess, surgeons, stones, chemical engineers. The jobs with the highest 3, so the divorce rate is highest among healthcare practitioners, telemarketers, and massage therapists. Which, that's what we all think. I have no idea if that's real, but they say that those are the professions. Somebody actually did a study and figured that out.
Yeah, I've heard that nurses, when they're on the job, a lot of them like to get together.
How can you possibly say that?
I've heard that.
I mean, what the heck? Oh,
I've heard that.
from whom?
Just internet.
Well, that's bound to be true. I'm sorry to all the nurses out there who just heard that. Okay, there was a science story out today. Now, you know how we hear these things, and 1 minute something's good for you, and the next it isn't. And for many years, many people believed a glass of wine with dinner might actually be good for you. But a new study says no. There is no evidence that any amount of drinking improves your health. And researchers analyzed U.S. health data found no health benefit from alcohol at any level of consumption. So instead, they found a risk increases even among people who would be considered moderate drinkers. So just another thing that's not so much. Okay, there was a cute story today about a woman who saved a crow who was stuck in a gutter. She had the fire department, who was a street over, go and save the crow. And ever since there, every time she goes to walk her dog, the crows follow her. And they drop her little gifts, like feathers or little things that she picks up on the street, because crows are the smartest birds.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
they want to
that's
thank her.
awesome.
It's so great. All right, and finally, in Sue's News, today's random fact. There are 42 buildings in Manhattan that have their own zip code.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
And,
Thanks, Sue.
You're welcome.
Your money now. Wall Street finishing up the short trading week higher. The NASDAQ setting the pace. Dow Industrial Average up 72 points at 51,564. NASDAQ added 496 points. S&P 500 gained 80. But the markets will be closed on Friday for the Juneteenth holiday. Waymo is recalling some 3,900 robo-taxis in the U.S. to fix software issues related to driving into freeway construction zones. The voluntary recall is the second in just over a month. There were 13 incidents where Waymo vehicles drove into a construction zone in Phoenix or entered freeway lanes with active construction in and around San Francisco. This recall is for vehicles using its fifth-generation automated driving system. Vice President J.D. Vance told reporters that 12.5 million barrels of oil passed through the Strait of Hormuz in tanker ships last night. The movement occurred shortly after the U.S. and Iran signed their deal to end the war. Vance added that Iranians have not fired on any commercial ships so far. That's your money now.
The board recommends approving.
Regarding that seat on the committee, we're promoting
quarterly earnings.
Every day, shareholders meet to discuss important matters about the companies you invest in. Now you can easily make your voice heard. Vanguard Investor Choice gives you a say in the companies you invest in. With just a few taps, you can set your proxy voting preference for your index funds. Visit Vanguard.com/investor choice to learn more. Vanguard investors own shares of our index funds, which own shares of the companies they invest in. Available for Vanguard index funds that participate in Investor Choice. Vanguard Marketing Corporation distributor.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores.
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at bofa.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Hi, Sandy. What's that?
I'm reading up on this Amendment 4 on the August ballot.
What's 4?
Amendment 4 absurdly creates a new un-American minority veto power, but only for those that we citizens put on the ballot.
Don't they say it'll protect ideas?
Truth gets in the way of their story. Amendment 4 would mean as few as 5% of the most liberal statewide voters in one congressional district could veto any good conservative idea or reform, even when a big majority supports it.
That does sound un-American. How did that get on the ballot?
The politicians put it there, and it would empower a small minority of liberals. They could stop funding for police, stop tax cuts, or any other common sense conservative policy we support.
Only 5%? One district? That would make it nearly impossible to pass needed reforms or rein in politicians.
Yep, Amendment 4 is a misguided power grab by politicians. I'm voting no on Amendment 4.
Right. I'm not giving up my constitutional rights. It's a hard no on 4.
Paid for by Missourians for Fair Governance.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
It is 4:32. The time check brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
250 years of capitalism, private ownership, and rugged individualism. America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
And welcome back to the Mark Reardon Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Mark. If you want to look me up online at Ryan Recker or Ryan Recker Radio. Joining us now to discuss this memo of understanding with Iran. Mike Sarraille, he's a retired Navy SEAL, Chief Talent Officer for Overwatch, Mission Critical, and Fox Nation host of The Unsung of Arlington. We appreciate your time, Mike. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for having me.
So there's been varying ranges of frustration, I think, by a lot of Republicans, by this deal. It can go from neutral to upset. And when you look, I guess, at the left, it's all upset. What do you think about this deal? What's your understanding of this memo of understanding?
Well, let me start with those that are upset. And their metrics or rubrics for success here was probably the total annihilation of the IRGC. And trust me, given my past experience in the military, and I fought against Iranian special groups, the Quds Force in 2008 in Silver City, I get it. And that's what I wanted. At the end of the day, I'm going to look at the situation as it is, not what I wish it was. I think this deal has potential to change the architecture of the Middle East. And that was Trump's sort of vision and design. So, one, the no nuclear is a red line. And I think Trump versus an Obama who used a red line with Assad in Syria and didn't follow it up, we're talking about two different personalities. The military is going to remain in place, and that is the ultimate enforcer of consequences, harsh consequences. If they cheat, if they stall, don't be surprised if Trump flips that switch and strikes commence again. The no nuclear done, I think all eyes are on the Strait of Hormuz. Is it truly open or is it less closed? Even if it's less closed, there's some stability that comes to the global energy markets, and that is well received. But there are some kill switches here, and I'll say this. There are eyes on Israel or southern Lebanon. While nuclear deal negotiations are taking place in Switzerland, this can be detonated or blown up, this deal, by what happens in southern Lebanon.
I think that what I don't want to happen is that we go right back at it. So Iran does something they shouldn't, and next thing you know, this idea that we were done is we're right back into it for another couple of months, and everything reverts back, high gas prices and all the problems associated with it, and of course, they'll have political implications with it too. When we got into this, I thought, wouldn't it be nice to not have to worry about this ever again? The idea that this is a memo of understanding almost guarantees at some point we'll be back at this again, and that's what I don't like.
Yeah, you're right. If history tells us anything, 47 years of it, is that Iran has perfected the art of strategic delay and walking away from negotiations or not complying. And you are right. There's so much that can go wrong over these next 60 days. And we have to assume that the assumption Iran has is that 30 or 45 days in, let's say August 1st or August 15th, they can walk away from the deal or not comply with the timeline and the conditions, thinking that the American election cycle is stronger than American resolve and that they will impact Trump and the Republican Party in these midterm elections.
I also worry too that if we, allow them in the future to make some money off of the strait, and they got these oil reserves, and I mean they got a lot of things that they can be making money off of. They're just going to spend that money on more terrorism because they are already funneling money to terrorists. So what's that money going to be used for? And can they be responsible enough to reconstruct their country in a productive way, or if it's just going to go right back to terrorizing Jews in Israel?
Well, let's not forget what they chant: death to Israel and death to America.
Yeah.
This is a fanatical ideology that's not going to change anytime soon. And that's why the eradication of the IRGC, full victory, was what a lot of people and a lot of Republicans had the eye on. And that's disturbing. I have nothing but rancor and disgust for this regime. The Persian people are lovely. I think we would love to see the IRGC and the Brigij back far enough where the people could have risen up and taken back their country. And that's why Israel has pure disgust for this deal. There was only one outcome for them, and that was the destruction of the IRGC. Ultimately, we've got to move forward with the course of action that we have. Hope is not a course of action, but we better work off of a few things, three things in particular. Very well-defined conditions with no room for maneuver. Very strict timelines, and if those are not met, conditions on the strict timelines are not met, Trump better hit them with harsh consequences, and that's the U.S. military. To your point, I don't want to see that either, but if you have to start strikes again, there's no more escalating the severity of pain. Go hit their critical infrastructure, hit their energy plants, hit their desalinization plants. Make sure that it's going to be a long road for recovery, and then take Carg Island, their economic growth.
Yeah. I think about what it's going to take to get through to them, the severity of the situation that they're in. And for the longest time, it was Obama's going to, really put it to you by giving you a strong finger wagging. And, obviously that wasn't going to work. And then Donald Trump gets into office. And here we are. We just watched the strikes. They took out, really all their military. They made them defenseless. They made it so, their life was miserable. So you were doing what you thought would get through to them. Do you think this really got through to them, or is there never a point where they'll truly understand the ramifications of the situation they're in?
So you asked the question, what would it take to get through? Who was through to them? And I'm sorry, I go back to my nature, 20 years in special operations. The truthful answer is it's going to take a bullet to the head. And that sounds awful, but it may be the ground truth. These people are driven by ideology. And the only way to kill an ideology is to absolutely decimate it, to right down to the last person. They're not going to change. Ultimately, they want to maintain fear and psychological dominance over their population. And they have such a just visceral hate for Zionists and Jews and for Western society. This deal is not going to change that. But we have made it to your point, their army, not necessarily their army, I apologize, their Air Force, their Navy, and we've truly degraded their regional strike capability. But it is worth noting, I think Trump, in parallel with these negotiations, is going to move rapidly on the Abraham Accord 2.0, which will further confine and isolate Iran, really trying to change the regional security architecture as well as the economic architecture. And I know for both you and I, we would love to see in our lifetimes a peaceful, economically prosperous, viable Middle East. It's good for that region. More so, it's better for Americans in the entire globe.
Right. Mike Sarraille joining us here. And you hear a lot of Democrats saying that this deal is worse than what President Obama put together. Is that even possible? I think that is them just trying to drum up some headlines. And obviously, it is not as bad as the Obama, because we're in the situation we're in because of him. How would you compare the two deals, and how would you say the Trump one's better than the Obama one?
Yeah, I can't say I listen to anything the Democratic Party says anymore. I mean, they've let the inmates run the asylum on the far left. And it's just political discord with the elections coming up. These deals are rapidly or wildly different. One, JCPOA in 2015 didn't have any harsh consequences in terms of military strikes. We've got the military there to do it, and they will stay there until this deal is done or the train goes off the rails. But the palette of cash, and I think that's where some Republicans have a allergic reaction, is it smells a little like the JCPOA. That $300 billion is from an Arab fund, and it's not U.S. taxpayer dollars, even though we're seeing reporting that anywhere from $25 to $50 billion of U.S. capital is being put towards that fund. And that really stinks for the American taxpayers, that to think our tax dollars are going to go to use to help rebuild the IRGC and their economy. But the deals are wildly different. It just really comes down to the verifiable conditions and the enforcement mechanisms that Trump has in place, and the fact that he beat them back by destroying their entire Air Force, Navy, and crippling their economy.
Yeah. One other thing, and I know we have to wrap it up in a minute, but they keep saying that we've depleted our missile stockpile, and I kind of refuse to believe that. I feel like they may be not leading on to how many weapons they have left strategically. They may not want people to know that. What do you think? Have we depleted our missile stockpile?
No, I'm in your camp, and I don't have access to that information, nor do I want access to that information. I think it was a headline that Democrats went with to create fear. But I will say this, warfare is changing to such a rapid point that we do have to move away from sort of the expensive tech. There will always be a need for that, ballistic missiles. But with drone technology and AI, lower cost tech, we have seen that, the Iranians used very cheap drones to expense our anti-missile defenses. And Ukraine is a business case example of efficient or costly, low off the commercial off the shelf technology that has taken on one of the largest armies, the Russian army. And so there has to be an evolution with our technology sector to create low cost tech that can be used in abundance.
Well, we got the greatest tech minds in the world in the United States. Mike Sarraille, Fox Nation host of The Unsung of Arlington. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Ryan.
That's a great way to put it. I don't know exactly what goes on behind the scenes, but I'll tell you that these tech companies do like talking to the Trump administration because he's friendly on AI with them. Maybe, perhaps they could say, okay, use some of your tech minds to help defend this country. We have the brightest minds when it comes to technology here and the biggest companies. I don't see why we can't use that as a way strategically to benefit the United States defensively. Let's play some clips from President Trump and J.D. Vance coming up after the break. I'm Ryan Reicher, filling in for Mark Reardon, 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We still have a parking lot jam on eastbound 70 approaching Warrenton, and it looks better once you get about halfway to Wright City. And westbound, a little slow past Forestville. And we had a report of a tractor trailer having a tough time on the Forestville overpass, trying to make a turn onto a ramp. So you may encounter that. And a jam on westbound 64 Headed to Research Parkway, where we had an accident earlier. Look for a jam that goes back into Chesterfield Valley. And westbound 40, it's Kings Highway out through McCausland, slowing at 270. Southbound 270, slow pockets from Olive down through 44. And southbound 170 is slowing at 64 as well. There was an accident on 370 past 141, pretty much at the bridge. That has created a jam. And slow-moving traffic on the Poplar Street Bridge and eastbound 64 at 255. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, St. Louis, this is Brian Kilmeade. You know, I always have a great time when I visit you guys, and I'm coming back this November. So join me, Brian Kilmeade, by getting tickets for the show at the factory at 971talk.com/events.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Business moves fast. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Whenever I talk about Susan L. Ward, who is a friend and a sponsor, I always kind of say, I hope you don't need her help, because if you need her help, that means you're probably about to go through a divorce, or you went through divorce, you have post-divorce issues that have come up. The good news is I'm going to guide you into some great legal help, and she's going to be someone that's going to fight for you, be on your side, and you want to make sure you have that. I've gone through this many, many decades ago. A very inexperienced lawyer I hired, and it didn't turn out well. So why wouldn't you go with someone who's been in this market for a long time? She's got a great team, a beautiful office in Manchester, in De Pere, and a lot of fire in her belly to protect you in a situation where you need to be protected. I had kids that were very young at the time. You want to make sure you're not making mistakes. That's why Susan will tell you to reach out as soon as you think that there are issues, because she wants to prevent you from making mistakes, and people do make mistakes. The experience, you can't match it here in St. Louis. Susan L. Ward, STLFamilyLaw.com, the focus on family law, the emphasis on you. Tell them we sent you along.
The ACA Market Plan has just announced significant increases on their monthly premiums for 2026, with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Greg Hammond's Freedom of Choice plans now. You don't have to wait. One of their plans lets you use any doctor, has zero outpatient deductibles, and it's 30 to 60% lower than most Obamacare plans. Other options are full coverage PPOs with national networks, copays, and 100% annual preventative care. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg, and they'll provide all available options. Call 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Mark Reardon Show. I'm Ryan Recker filling in for Mark. Tomorrow, Best of Mark returns on Monday. Go like us on YouTube, on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. Go watch the live feeds. I think you'll enjoy it. Got a couple of clips, and I do want to talk more about the memo of understanding, Ron. But before we do that, I mentioned I was going to play the clip of the Knicks owner, Jim Dolan, talking about the potential of going to the White House and having the Knicks go meet President Donald Trump, a tradition a lot of sports teams have done. Can we play clip number 10, I believe it is?
As a matter of fact, thank you for asking me that. We just did receive an invitation from the White House, which we accepted. I mean, look, I invited the president to come down for the game. Right, he is a friend. I've known him for 30 years, and I'm very proud to bring the team to the White House.
Good. I hope the players are just enjoy it as much. If you think about how the Olympics played out, and you had the gold-winning hockey team go to the White House, and they were part of the State of the Union. It was really cool to see that. And I was looking back, and it's been a long time since the NBA team went to the White House under a Republican put it that way. So the Knicks are like, we're not playing this game. It's an honor to be invited. He's a Knicks fan. He's been going to Knicks games forever. This is a perfect opportunity to bring this tradition back, and I'm glad he did. I want to play a couple more clips from JD Vance because I think that when we talk about this memorandum, and we will talk more about this with Charles Lipson coming up. He's a professor emeritus at the University of Chicago. He writes regularly for Real Clear Politics, The Spectator magazine, and I do want to get his take on this memo when we get back after the break, so like 15 minutes from now or so. But JD Vance was asking and was asked questions about Iran. Why would they sign up on this when you look at their social media and things? We're going to put a statement out that this was bad. I don't know why we got forced to do this. It doesn't give them a lot of confidence that this 60 days is going to be productive. It almost sounds like it's a guarantee they'll back out at some point. So why did Iran agree? This is clip number 24.
Certainly think they recognize the leverage that the United States has over them. We've seen that in a number of our conversations here over the last couple of days. They certainly recognize that the United States has great leverage. Will that ultimately lead to a change in behavior? I don't know.
I guess we'll find out, but I'm not. If I were a betting man, I wouldn't bet on it because the history with Iran doesn't look like it's a good one for that bet to pay off. Removing their threat of nukes. This is clip number 27.
What we're trying to ensure is they don't rebuild that capacity, not just a year from now, 2 years from now, but many, many years from now, so that our children never have to worry about a state sponsor of terrorism having a nuclear weapon.
I feel like it's going to happen. And what's going to happen the minute Donald Trump's not in office? Let's say down the line in the future, there's a Democrat in office that is very friendly to them, that really doesn't like Israel and really doesn't like the Jews having a place to live. So they're more or less, you know what? The perpetrators of genocide had it coming to them. That type of mindset that we've seen in the left that's been rising over the last couple of years, that thought pattern, that those type of people are all of a sudden very popular in the Democratic Party. What happens if, worst case scenario, one of them are presidents and all of a sudden, you know what? Iran needed a nuke. They could just defend themselves with it. There's no big deal about it. Then what? We're just back in the same situation, depending on who's watching to see if this deal is being held to. And it could be, let's not rule out a Republican that's a president that says, the last time that happened, it wasn't good, politically speaking. Oh, boy, I want to be reelected. I don't want gas prices to go up. Oh, man, the oil and this and that. People would be real mad at me if I did that. So, we're going to let this slide a little bit longer. What if a Republican does? All these things seem like scenarios that could play out. And this memorandum is going to trust that Iran is going to do the right thing when they've never done the right thing in the history of their country, ever. Is there anything they've done? Anything they've done that you would say, that's a good thing? This is trustworthy in the past, decades, at least in your lifetime. We'll put it in your lifetime. It's hard to come up with an example. J.D. Vance was also asked about being Donald Trump's fall guy. A lot of people are looking at this as a failure in the Republican Party. Definitely the Democrats. All of them are looking at this and saying, don't like this, but they're, using more words that Donald Trump, we don't have to repeat what they're saying. You can probably go look it up. But some people are saying that, well, J.D. Vance was the one that was put into the negotiations here because Donald Trump knew it was a no-win situation. So let's see how he handles this, the unwinnable task. Let's see how he does it. So he was asked about that. Clip number 28.
No, not at all. I think the president was joking, but as he often does. But no, I think, look, the entire team has worked very well on this, and we've got this thing to a very good place for the American people.
Okay, that was J.D. Vance there. Maybe we should point out, this is really one of the first major tests of J.D. Vance, of how he would handle things if he were the president of the United States. And I think a lot of people are looking at him to be the front runner of the Republican Party to run for president in this next cycle. He's been doing a lot of speeches. He's been put in front of some pretty important tasks, Ron being one of them, but fraud, waste, and abuse, and looking at that in major states and cities around the country. That's a pretty major task too. This is, I don't want to say it was a trial basis. They're looking at it and saying, we just need to try it out and see what it would be like if he were president of the United States. But you kind of got to look at it here. to me, it says, okay, he's willing to make some compromises. He's very good at defending his stance. He doesn't buckle under the pressure. That's important. I don't think there's any Democrat, like let's say Barack Obama said, okay, Joe Biden, you're going to go out there and handle this. Do you think Joe would be able to take one interview, let alone, I don't know, 100 that he's done so far in the last couple of days? I don't think he would. I think this was a pretty big test for J.D. Vance. I wouldn't say that most people are happy with the outcome, but I think at the very least, if you're trying to find a bright side in all of this, you can say he handled it very, very well. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about this with Charles Lipson, and he's a great mind. I want to bounce a few things off of him coming up on the Mark Reardon Show. I'm Ryan Ranker, filling in 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
A little bit busy out there. If you are westbound on 64, it's lined up at Kings Highway out through McCausland, and some eastbound traffic, of course. And that seems to be at Timberlake Manor and then east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. An accident on westbound 6440 near Research Park has left us with a jam back across the Boone Bridge and into Chesterfield Valley. Also a jam is westbound 370 as you head for 141. There was an accident there. Now 70 westbound out of downtown is fine. Little slow in both directions at 141. And still some heavy traffic showing eastbound 70, an accident east of Warrenton, causing that delay. On the Illinois side, some volume eastbound on the Poplar Street Bridge through the 70 split. And some volume eastbound 64 at 255. This report brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Termites cause $5 billion in damage to homes and businesses in the U.S. every year. Call Point Pest Control now at 636-798-0023 and reclaim your space from unwanted pests. That's 636-798-0023. PointPestControl.com.
Summertime is finally here. It's time to take advantage of Zero Res's best deal of the summer. Mark Cox here. You know Zero Res can handle every surface in your home. Carpets, tiles, grout, hardwood, laminate, upholstery, all of it. And right now they're having a flash sale. 3 rooms for $129 plus a 4th room for free. Take advantage of this while you can. Call them up or go to their website. That's ZeroResSTL.com. Tell them you want the 97.1 special.
Transform your home in one weekend and save big money at Menards. Protect and enjoy your outdoor living space with Thompson's semi-transparent wood sealer. It maintains wood's natural color and provides durable year-round protection from water and sun damage in just one coat. Save big money on Thompson's water seal products. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help bring your dreams to life, 1 gallon at a time. Stop by your local Menards today.
Save big money at Menards.
For decades, Morgan & Morgan has represented hundreds of thousands of people at their hour of need. Injuries on the job, car crashes, medical malpractice, and nursing home abuse, Social Security claims, dangerous drugs, and dangerous products. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason, and no firm is even close. Then we got to thinking, what if we could prevent these terrible events before they occurred? So we built the AI-powered People Protector. Simply visit peopleprotector.com and type in the product you have questions about before you buy it. Children's toys and accessories, cars, drugs, products, you name it, we got it. With our success, we decided to pay it forward for all of America. Our way of saying thank you for your trust all these years. Morgan & Morgan, protecting America. And if you've already been injured, just visit us at forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO. or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KFTK FM Florissant,
an Odyssey station.
Fox News, Vice President Vance set to travel to Switzerland to sign off on the Memorandum of Understanding with Iran that aims to end the conflict and dismantle Iran's nuclear program.
A memorandum of understanding provides a pathway for Iran to see billions of dollars in unfrozen assets, sanctions relief, and even economic development.
But in order for that to happen, the Iranians have to perform. And if they don't perform, as we've said before, they don't get any of the benefits of the bargain.
Vice President J.D. Vance argues Americans are already benefiting with oil again flowing to the Strait of Hormuz. A 60-day memorandum of understanding does allow Iran to export and sell its oil supply. An outcome Vance says is not a major concession. Vance says he expects to travel to Switzerland this weekend to begin technical talks on Iran's nuclear stockpile.
Fox's Jared Halper at the White House. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth meeting with NATO allies in Brussels, announcing a Pentagon review of American forces in Europe.
NATO 3.0 is post-Cold War recognition that needs to go back to a real hardline military alliance.
Hegseth saying the outcome of the review will depend on how quickly European allies take responsibility for their own security. 3 former members of the military awarded the Medal of Honor at a White House ceremony.
I'm so proud of them. A 250-year tradition of the bravest and greatest heroes ever to walk the earth.
Retired Marine Corps Major James Capers honored for his bravery during the Vietnam War. Major Nick Dockery received the award for his service in Afghanistan, and Colonel John Ripley received the award posthumously for his heroism in Vietnam. Wall Street stocks rose, erasing much of yesterday's losses. The Dow had 72, the Nasdaq up 496. America is listening to Fox News.
Please be advised. You may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, bean sprouts, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
Wait, what? I thought those were good for me.
Turns out not for everyone, because what's healthy for one person can cause inflammation for another. And the only way to really know what your body needs is to listen to it.
Listen how?
That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple at-home gut health test that looks at your body's real-time biology using RNA to understand what's happening inside you right now. When your results come in, you'll learn exactly which foods to eat, which to avoid, and which supplements are right for you, all based on the world's largest RNA-based human biology database and thousands of clinical research studies. And many people who use Viome report more energy, better digestion, and a better mood within months. So stop guessing. Start knowing. Learn more at viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, viome.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase. Viome. Trust your gut.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
The northwest flow is back in control. Not too bad this afternoon. A mix of clouds and sunshine. It's breezy. 79 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy. Nice evening, nice overnight. 62 Friday, plenty of sun. 84 degrees Saturday, partly sunny, 86. Saturday night and Sunday, back to scattered showers and thunderstorms. Some heavy downpours possible. High temperature Sunday, 85. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
And I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Mark Reardon. Happy to be with you. Tomorrow, Mark is off, best of show, and on Monday, Mark returns. So, let's spend the last hour together here. If you want to reach me at Ryan Recker Radio on Facebook. Joining us now, Professor Emeritus at the University of Chicago. He writes regularly for the Spectator magazine, Real Clear Politics, and others. He has columns available now at charleslipson.com. Charles, thank you so much for joining us.
How are you, Brian?
Great. Looking at this memo of understanding is pretty much what everyone's talking about, and it's kind of tough. If you were to break down the people that like the deal and the people that don't like the deal, it might be 95-5, if that. And it's a tough sell right now for J.D. Vance, it sounds like. I'm hoping you might be able to tell me, what are some of the good things about it that you might like and some of the bad things you don't like about it?
Well,
I think the best way to do it is to, rather than me saying, oh, I like it, oh, I don't like it, is to go over some of the main objectives that we had when we went into this second phase of the war. Remember, there was first the 12-day war. Actually, the Israelis wanted to keep going. Donald Trump wanted to stop it, and he had power enough to do that. When we went in the second time, what did we do? We wanted to remove all the nuclear materials and end their ability to do nuclear processing. We wanted to reopen the Straits of Hormuz. We wanted to stop their ballistic missile production. Why did we want to do that? Because when they have enough missiles, you can't go in and do anything else because they could threaten to destroy virtually everything, say, in the oil-producing countries of the Gulf. We wanted to get them to stop funding their terror proxies around the region. And for everything else, we wanted to make sure that if the current regime stayed in power, especially, we needed to have snap inspections. So which ones did we get? Not very many. And it looks as if we've paid, we, not the U.S., but we've in effect told our allies, go ahead and pay them quite a lot of money up front. So it remains to be seen whether they will live up to much, but it looks as if the Iranians have gotten the long end, have drawn the long straw, and we've drawn the short one.
Yeah. So in the end, we can say, oh, well, at least it's over. But is it, though? Because with the understanding in 60 days, we could be right back at it again.
Well, that's right. My sense is that during this negotiation period, it would be foolhardy for the Iranians to violate the agreement because the agreement is so good for the Iranians. On the other hand, they're going to get billions and billions of dollars. And what are they going to do with it? Well, we don't have to guess because we've seen what happens when they get all these billions of dollars. I think the hard part for the Trump administration was that the Iranians quite brilliantly had decentralized their regime's control over the country. So even when you took out the people at the top, you really hadn't taken out the IRGC and their control over the country. And there are literally, even though they're a relatively small number of them, as a percentage of the population, it's still enough to control the population and kill them. And they proved that.
Yeah. So here we are. You saw the Vice President J.D. Vance kind of take the lead on this one. How do you think he did? Because I was just talking about this. He is the vice president. A lot of people look at him as the front runner of the Republican Party after Donald Trump, and likely the person that could be the nominee for the Republicans to run for president. If this was a test for J.D. Vance, how do you think he did?
He came closer to Kamala Harris than I would like to see. he was given, remember, Kamala was given control of the southern border. How'd that work out for her? So I think he looked very frustrated. He lashed out pretty strongly at Israel, who is a friend. And you could say, look, I know they didn't get all they wanted, but you didn't. I mean, he looked a lot more like Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson. Remember, he had Tucker Carlson's son working for him for a long time. I mean, I think, but the important point is, if the deal works out well, then he's the front man for it. Who wasn't seen anywhere? Well, we didn't see the Secretary of War, and we didn't see the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. These are clearly people who are not comfortable with the terms of this deal. And both Trump and Vance are lashing out, really, rather than making a kind of prudent argument about why America should support this, other than the fact that it's bringing the price of oil and gas down.
Right. Well, yeah, very quickly, stock market did great today. I think they like seeing those things, but how fast can that change in the future if something doesn't work out? Because it seems like if you read the stories from the Iranian side, they're not too happy, even though they should be thrilled. And history tells us that money's going to be funneled as soon as they get money to places like, oh, I don't know, Russia could be one of them. So we're just maybe going to be picking up more slack with Ukraine in the future too. I just
They're not.
there's so many wild
They're
cards.
not likely to. They're not likely to give money to Russia. What they're likely to do, though, is start producing these Shahed drones. I think, by the way, that's been another. They've been out of the business of producing those. Russia's had to produce its own. That's actually enough. That's actually the best news of the day, is that Ukraine managed to strike oil facilities in Moscow itself. And I think that Ukraine has turned the tide. I think this is a very the United States really should get on the winning side here. We've been kind of mixed. Trump has been publicly much more antagonistic, but behind the scenes, the Department of War has done a lot to help Ukraine, and I hope we'll get credit for that.
Right. Well, what you're suggesting there, if you want to talk about approval ratings, I don't know if he could handle it. If he immediately turned around and said, "You know what? We're gonna go back in and we're gonna take out Russia next, and we're gonna help Ukraine because
No,
I think people, they
that's
need a
not
break."
it.
Okay.
No. But I do think that as the summer moves forward, we are likely to see Ukraine making advances, and I think you're quite right, Brian, that anybody who counts on Iran living up to a deal that we Americans would consider a good deal is wishing upon a star.
Right. Wow, man. I'm gonna for a while there. I think, okay, I need a break here. Like all of this every day, reading about Iran stuff. Am I ever going to get a break from this, or is it just going to be nonstop between now and the next 60 days?
You know what I do? I actually watch Rodney Dangerfield shorts because I feel like I need a laugh, man. I really do. Some of this stuff is downright depressing. You know, we specialists in international politics and that for what I've told people for a long time. My main defect as a student of international politics is that I'm naturally an optimist, and it sounds like you are too. And boy, the world just kicks you in the pants over and over again, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. All right. So if I had to choose tonight between Back to School and Caddyshack, which one should I watch?
Oh, Caddyshack, man. Caddyshack. What a great, I mean, but because you've not only got Rodney, you've got Bill Murray. I mean, you know that scene where he's knocking the tops off of the flowers? That was all improvisation. He was just told that wasn't even in the original movie.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, do yourself a favor. Watch a good comedy tonight.
I think I need it. I think we all need a little break right about now. Rodney
Hey,
Dangerfield.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
At the very least, I watched that episode he was on The Simpsons where he was Mr. Burns' son. At the very least, I can afford 25 minutes of that.
The early Simpsons episodes are all keepers. I got to tell you, but just don't invest in a monorail in Springfield, man.
Well, The Simpsons had that great gag where it was George Bush moves in across the street, and
Oh,
the
yes.
start of the episode was them
Yes.
trying to find things to sell at the yard sale, and they had the Ayatollah shirt where they were making fun of the Ayatollah. So it all comes around.
You know, Conan O'Brien was the director on a lot of those.
Oh yeah, the monorail one, that was a big one for Conan.
Oh yeah.
It's so
Oh yeah.
it's so funny, the association with the
Oh well,
Simpsons.
you came to talk about Iran, and we ended up talking about Rodney Dangerfield. I'm going to claim credit for that.
Can I say this might be the biggest fear of the Democrats right now is us not talking about Iran.
Oh, well, I tell you though, from Trump's point of view, the problem is that that people are really talking about Republicans are not happy with this deal. This does not look like Ronald Reagan. This really looks closer to Jimmy Carter.
I know. There's a lot of people upset about it, but if it's not the major driver of the news for a lot of these different publications that are more left-leaning, then I don't know what they're going to talk about. At least, well, I don't find something else to put it.
That is absolutely right. The big news there was yet another socialist was elected yesterday, or almost elected. She will be the next mayor of Washington, D.C., and that sets up a huge clash with President Trump. And the Democrats are going to say, yeah, we want D.C. to be a state.
Oh, yeah. And then before you know it, Maine will have a new politician in with a Nazi tattoo, and you'll be wondering to yourself, how did all this happen? How did I get here?
Well, we have to be very careful what we say about him.
Professor Emeritus, University of Chicago, writes regularly for The Spectator, Real Clear Politics. You can find his work online, charleslipson.com, Lipson. Charles Lipson, thank you so much for joining us. I need some Rodney.
Thank you,
I really
Brian.
do.
Thank you.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, on the roads, I'll tell you what, we've got some volume out there. Westbound on 370, which of course is unusual. And we've got road work, and there was an accident earlier past 141. And we've got an accident now on westbound 270, just right there at Riverview. And they're talking about having actual lane closures and shutting down both lanes up there. So we have a huge jam behind this. If you are an eastbound 270 driver, right now the jam goes not quite back to the Canal Bridge. I will keep you updated on that. Westbound 70, a little bit slow at 94 and at Wentzville. And then out west, we're still jammed. Eastbound 70 approaching Warrenton due to an earlier accident and some moderate volume headed for Wentzville. Now, westbound 40, we're pretty much slow in pockets from Kings Highway out through Research Park. There was an accident there. Slowing again at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Northbound 270 jams at Ladue Road. And that's, of course, due to road work. Southbound has slow pockets from Olive down through Gravois. 55, not too bad to the south. Maybe a little moderate volume in the construction zone just north of Herculaneum. And on the Illinois side, 64 jams at 255. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, this is an awesome time to be a member of the Missouri Athletic Club because there's so many things going on with the summer. We've had obviously opportunities at the downtown clubhouse to go and take a shuttle either down to the Battlehawks game. Unfortunately, that's wrapped now, but to the Cardinals game. There's big 4th of July parties that are planned for the MAC. And then I always talk about the philanthropic work that members really do throughout the year, each and every year, to help some great organizations in the community. And this year, we've chosen our 3 charities, Books for Newborns, Joshua's Great Things, which helps kids with brain cancer. And then Missouri Kids Coalition is really an amazing group because you have athletes that suffer life-altering injuries that threaten their independence, and they come in with equipment, accessible transportation, all of these things. And every year we single out 3 different charities, and those are the 3 for this year. So as you're having all that fun at the Missouri Athletic Club and enjoying yourself, maybe think about a little donation to the great charities that we take a look at and really take care of year after year. mac-stl.org today for the Missouri Athletic Club.
License number GL2500615.
You're cooking dinner. The lights go out. You flip the breaker and forget about it.
But what if it keeps tripping?
Trips once, your breaker's doing its job. Keeps tripping? That's a warning. Bad wiring or something worse.
Do people just keep flipping it?
Most do until they can't anymore.
Call Grasser. We'll stop the trip.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeServices.com.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
Looking for a smarter, safer way to invest? For a limited time, lock in a great rate with Together Credit Union's 11-month CD special. From day one, your return on investment is guaranteed. No market swings, no surprises. Just a competitive, fixed rate that steadily grows your deposit. Make your money work harder with a financial partner that puts you first. Visit a Together Credit Union branch near you or go online to togethercu.org to learn more. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis conservative.
Welcome back to the Mark Reardon Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Mark. We've got so many clips to get to. Producer Johnny, I want to try something with you, and I'm going to try. I'm going to honestly, really, really try. I want to play a clip of Pritzker, and as soon as I'm tired of hearing his voice, I'm going to tell you to stop playing the clip. And I'm going to try to last it as long as I can. This is almost like the kids, they do speed runs through video games and things like that. And they see, okay, can I do it? Or sometimes they see how long they can last with something painful. This is me trying my best to listen to Pritzker. All right, this is clip number 14.
In the coming election,
Stop it. Stop. I can't handle it. I can't do it. Oh, that was painful. Ah! I got to try again. Okay, hold on. Okay, this is J.B. Pritzker talking about his plans for the future. Let's
in the coming election, what I can tell you in 28.
Stop. Time out. I can't do it. No, I can't. Guys, I honestly tried. I can not do it.
I was going to say your first run. I don't know if anyone was timing. That may have been a world record.
I had to duck out immediately. It was painful. Just as soon as I heard it. Oh, I can't do it. Talking about voices that I don't respect. Adam Schiff was talking about Elon Musk's wealth. This is clip number 29.
What would $1 trillion pay for? Well, $1 trillion, if we decided to distribute that equally among American households, your household would get $7,500. It would also pay for the complete four-year college education of 7.7 million American students. You could take 4.3 million kids and raise them from birth until 18, pay for everything they need during those 18 years.
It's so funny how he says, if we were to literally take his wealth away from him, force it by the hand of the U.S. government, and steal it and distribute it equally among the people. What does that sound like to you? Sounds like communism. No, it's no big deal. You don't really own that. You don't own these companies. You don't own stock. That belongs to the people now. I don't know if I like that. Not a big fan of what Adam Schiff and how he sets up this argument, but let's just kind of look at this logically. Let's say all of a sudden the U.S. government said, you know what, we own 45% of SpaceX now.
What do you think would happen to the value of SpaceX if Elon Musk was no longer associated with it? It would go from being worth trillions of dollars to being worth maybe 10% of that, because now they're going to put it into the hands of the U.S. government, who will not know what to do with it and waste it, and it won't be worth anything at that point. So, okay, lose all its value. So all that money you would have got from that's gone. If you listen, the same thing with Tesla. He owns a big part of Tesla because he is all things essentially the ones that nurtured it from the very beginning on. And all these people say, "Oh no, he didn't. He didn't start Tesla. He bought the company." Well, when the company was bought by Elon Musk, there was like 5 people there, and there was 0 work done. It was a namesake, and it was a car company with the name of Tesla. There was no models. There was no blueprints. There were no engineering. There was nothing. Yeah, I mean, he took it from the bottom up. So, okay, if we're going to take all that stock that he owns in that, and we'll just have the government go and just say it's ours now. What do you think would happen in the car company? Just like everything else in the government, they'd mess it up. So if you think you're like, oh, this would be great, we're just going to steal all this stuff from Elon Musk and it'll be worth the value in the hands of the government versus his hands, absolutely not. The only reason it is valuable is because of Elon Musk doing what he's done with it and all of the different companies. So Adam Schiff makes it sound like, this is the future of America. The how we make things equal is we will give you the opportunity to create hundreds of thousands of jobs and make these giant companies that better people's lives, and people buy into it through stock options, and we'll let it go to a certain point until the government decides it's theirs, and then you'll own nothing. What does that sound like? The model of Adam Schiff sound like to you? It's pretty sad, actually. Pretty sad. A couple of local stories I wanted to get to. I saw on Fox 2 that people were talking about the large sinkhole downtown because a car caught on fire near the sinkhole. Now, if you want to talk about downtown St. Louis and some of the imagery that comes with it, this is not helping. This does not help at all. The fire occurred near the sinkhole underneath Interstate 44, appeared to be involved St. Louis City Streets Department truck. According to a spokesperson for the street department, the truck that caught fire was a City of St. Louis Street Department vehicle. The truck was taken to the site Thursday morning by a street inspector as part of the routine check at a construction site. The fire left charred remains in a streak along 44 above where it was burning. That is not the imagery that the city really wants right about now. Come to St. Louis, check out the yard, look at our giant holes in the ground where there's trucks on fire. Not going to be part of the Tourism Bureau's pitch in the future, I'm guessing. One other thing I saw, St. Louis police were able to stop a teen takeover at Forest Park this weekend because they looked at social media and the teens were posting online that they were going to go do this stupid teen takeover at Forest Park this weekend. So Metropolitan Police said, oh, okay, thanks for letting us know. We're going to put a stop to this, rightfully so. This is absolutely insanity with these teen takeovers. And I'm glad the police are able to stop it before it starts. They really need to nip this in the bud. Is that the term that would be most appropriate there? I'm Ryan Reckles filling in for Mark Reardon, 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads this afternoon, we have had some issues. Now, if you're westbound on 64, Kings Highway out through McCausland is slow, moderate volume at 270, and they've cleared the accident at Research Park, so traffic is unwinding through Chesterfield Valley. And then we're slow on either side of Lake St. Louis Boulevard. 70 westbound, a little bit of volume at 141 and past 94. And let's see, other than that, we're okay. Looks like the usual volume southbound 270. And that starts, of course, right around Olive. And then you get a break, and then it slows again, and then it's in pockets down through Gravois. 55 is in pretty good shape. And if you're headed to Illinois, there is some volume on the Poplar Street Bridge, but it's mainly coming off the bridge headed for 70. And 70 eastbound slows at 64. 64 slows at 255. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm Bill Hemmer, and these are the most impactful moments
American history. Can you put a price on treason? Robert Hansen could. 1.4 million. When Hansen joined the FBI, he took an oath, swearing to defend the U.S. Constitution against all enemies. Beginning in 1979, Hansen would spend the next 22 years of his career as a Soviet spy. While operating within the FBI's Soviet counterintelligence program, Hansen supplied Moscow with some of America's most sensitive secrets. And on February 18, 2001, the deception was brought to an end. A cold day in Virginia's Foxstone Park, beneath a wooden bridge, Hansen dropped a garbage bag filled with classified materials. And with that, Robert Hansen was caught red-handed.
America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Well, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
I love talking about Generator Supercenter of St. Louis because honestly, this is maybe the easiest sell job that I have to do. It's such a no-brainer. You have no excuse, ladies and gentlemen, to not get a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. It's not going to hurt you at all. Maybe it's something you can't do now. Maybe it is something you can plan for. They have low monthly payments available as well, but these are high-quality generators. A free estimate is just a phone call away, or if you go to the website, they can help you out with that. You don't have to worry about holding on with Ameren. You're going to have independence. Your home is going to kick right back in with natural gas or propane as soon as the power goes out. If you're out of town, you don't have to worry about it. The food's not going to spoil. All kinds of benefits. So if you've ever wondered, and these are really, really great high quality generators, what they cost or what it would take to get one at your home, you can do it right now. 304-2020 Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
All righty, we are here in summer, and a lot of us are finding that our air conditioners doesn't seem to be cooling cool in the morning, but by afternoon it never shuts off, and then while you're sleeping, it'll start cooling the house down. You're wasting a lot of money on energy, on your electric. We know how high our electric bills are getting. If it's happening to you, call me. Come out there and take a look at it and get it fixed for you pronto. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Again, easy number for Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
2026 is a big year for America, and we'll be here with you, celebrating every step of the way. America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk, sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
And welcome back to the Mark Reardon Show. I'm Ryan Recker filling in. I think we may have our guest on the line. Is that right? Do we? Joining us now to talk some golf, and I think we may be grabbing him. Dan Reardon, the U.S. Open is going on. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, Ryan. It's a pleasure to be with you. Yes, the U.S. Open is going on, and it's been
sort of a weather scripted day, I think, for the first round of the U.S. Open at Shinnecock on Long Island.
Yeah, I need to admit this because I'm someone that doesn't watch a lot of golf, and I'm here at work, and we have the U.S. Open on, and I'm watching it, and I had to talk to our sports guy, Brendan. I said, "Why are there UFOs over this?" And he's like, "No, no, no, no. It's something they do now. They put the wind graphics in the air to show like an arrow pointing where the wind is going." I thought there was a bunch of UFOs flying over the course.
Yeah, it is interesting because I know what you're talking about. It's either birds or drones, one of the two.
Yes.
But it's actually a very practical situation because if you get the wind conditions on a hilly course, the wind at the bottom of the hill is going to be considerably different than the wind at the top of the hill. And if you hit a club that flies the ball low, it's not going to be nearly as effective as a ball that flies high. So it's actually very helpful information. The players would love to have access to that information, but that would not be allowed.
Oh, I see. And I really appreciate how when you're watching coverage of the US Open, it's going from one to another to another. You're seeing all the hits in a row, and it makes it so much more exciting to watch it. And as someone that doesn't really pay attention to golf, I found myself glued to watching the coverage because you're watching the world's best, the US Open, who are playing right there. And tell me, what has been going on so far? What are the highlights?
Well, as I said, the weather has been mostly the story of the first day. They had a 2-hour fog delay, which is not unusual when you're playing on an island in the Atlantic Ocean. And once they got started, the winds have been very severe, moderated a little bit in the afternoon, but they were playing in wind gusts of 30 plus miles an hour. And so the scores have been sort of subdued all the way through the day. It looks, we still, because of this 2-hour delay, they're not going to complete this round. There are going to be players who will have to come back in the morning and finish up. But, right now, Wyndham Clark, who's 3 under par for the championship, has played 9 holes. He won the U.S. Open back in L.A. Country Club a couple of years ago. Quite a contrast, you would say, between Long Island and Beverly Hills in terms of weather, but not in terms of the nature of the membership of both clubs.
Wow. I think people recognize some of the big names, those that are playing right there. Maybe you'll have to be very basic for me. How long will the U.S. Open last? When are we going to see the final round? Is it the end of the weekend?
It's 4 days. All the tournaments on the PGA Tour and the majors are 4 days. It will end on Sunday, unless you would have bizarre weather circumstances. And all they have in their forecast is wind. You do have good names. I mean, I'll throw names for the listeners. John Rahm is 2 under in his round, 1 shot out of the lead. Rory McIlroy finished at 1 under. He's 2 shots off the lead. So you have really good names there. The name that I think that people will track this weekend because he's got the most on the line is Scottie Scheffler, who's the #1 player in the world. And Scheffler is looking at, and he had a 2-over round today, so a little disappointing. He's 5 shots back to Wyndham Clark. But he has triple opportunities on the line on Sunday. If he would have won on Sunday, it would be his first ever U.S. Open. And there are 4 major championships, and that's the only one he's ever won. So that would be the career slam. 2 is Father's Day. It's always Father's Day on Sunday. And he has 2 young sons to share the trophy with. And 3 is, amazingly enough, Sunday is Scottie Scheffler's 30th birthday. So you might want to watch that. You might want to watch that story and see how it turns out.
Wow, I didn't realize he was only 30. Wow, he's accomplished a lot. Let me give you a general observation. You can tell me, because as someone that's an outsider to golf, I was watching some of the golfers while they were kind of waiting and watching one of their people they're golfing against. They were taking their club and they were leaning up against it, kind of like it was like a third leg. And I thought, doesn't that warp their club? Doesn't that mess them up at that level? They're so good and so tuned in to everything being precise. If they lean on it and bend it a little, doesn't that mess things up?
Nah, I'm looking at a player, Bryson DeChambeau, the longest hitter on the tour, who literally hit a drive today that was well over 400 yards with the wind at his back. And he's swinging that club at well over 100 miles an hour. So, leaning on it may flex it, but it won't break it. Now, if you slam it into the ground, you can break it. But no, there's nothing to be concerned about in that regard. And they're just killing time, quite honestly. It's a long day, particularly for the guys who went out early. They got to the golf course. They had a 2-hour delay, and they played a 5-hour round of golf. So 7 hours at the golf course is sort of unusual. And as a New Yorker, the people in New York are looking at sort of a double hit this week because yesterday or today, I guess it was, they had the Knicks parade, and now they have the U.S. Open. Long Island is a long island, but it's 60 miles from the parade to the golf tournament, and I think New Yorkers are enjoying a special kind of combination.
I think Sunday will be a very special day for the tournament. 400 yards you can hit a ball. Man, that is something else. I can't even fathom that. All right, well, what time? Okay, for someone that's like me, you're like, okay, when should I tune in on Sunday? What's the right time to turn on the TV to check things out?
I would say tune in. I'll give you Central Time. Tune in at 4 o'clock Central Time, and it'll play out over the last 2 hours. NBC has it scheduled probably to end at 7 o'clock, so they go a little bit into the evening in terms of the audience. And it's very. I've played at Shinnecock years and years ago. It's a very scenic golf course which has absolutely no trees on it. Has water but no trees, and it's one of the original 5 golf courses, the first 5 in this country, and Shinnecock is one of the 5.
Wow, that goes back. Probably some pretty historic people would have played there if that's the case. Okay, it's Father's Day. Wife and the kids, they can't say no. You can plop yourself in front of the TV and say, it's Father's Day. You're going to let me watch this. And there's no question to it. Perfect timing. Dan Reardon, thank you so much for joining us and talking about the U.S. Open.
Enjoyed it, Ryan.
Okay, that was a good tip. All right. 4 o'clock or so. Okay, Sunday it is. I guess I know what I'm doing on Father's Day. And I found myself staring at the screen when I wasn't expecting to. And I'm not even someone, I think I've golfed once in my life. I think I've been to the driving range twice in my life, and I haven't been there in the last 20 years. It would have been just something I did when I was younger. Maybe not even 25 years. But all my colleagues, people I know, they all love to golf. They love to do it. It's so fun. Maybe I should get into it sometime. Maybe I should just go to Topgolf. I see ads for it all the time. We got a couple more minutes left on the show. Talking about the Knicks and the parade and everything else that's going on. I saw Mom Donnie was out there in full Knicks gear talking about the city and how proud he is to be mayor. I had a hard time listening to Pritzker, and we had to do a speed run, and I think I lasted all but like 3/4 of a second. I don't know how long I'll last hearing Mom Donnie talk about the Knicks, but let's try this. This is clip number 11.
For 53 long years, we have watched and we have waited. We have watched from nosebleeds and through gritted teeth, on televisions in the windows of electronic stores,
and
from projectors balanced on fire escapes.
So stupid.
We have watched alone in our apartments with our heads in our hands, shoulder to shoulder at bars where the signal flickers, alongside friends and family who we wish more than anything to be here today, sharing this moment.
Okay, so he has felt the plight of the Knicks fan over all these years. I think that if you were to go back and look at Mom Donnie and talk about sports franchises and what it takes to keep them inside the city and the different privileges, tax breaks, incentives that you need to give them, I think the moment the Knicks ask for something, Mom Donnie's going to be like, I hate the Knicks after all. You can leave. I'm not giving you anything. It ain't worth it. See you later. So enjoy the parade while it lasts, I guess. Good for the Knicks, though, to say that they are going to go to the White House. At least that their owner said, Jim Dolan, hey, we've accepted the invitation from the Trump administration to go visit the White House. I just hope the players get an opportunity to do that, too, and they enjoy being there. Should I listen to the Pritzker thing? I really, really, really tried to listen to Pritzker talk about his plans for the future. All right, let's play the clip one more time. I'm going to try hard to listen to this. I think since he is the governor of Illinois, and people in Illinois listen to us, and they may want to know what his intentions are for the future. This is clip number 14.
In the coming election, what I can tell you in 28 is I'm going to be very involved. I do think that
it's in 28. Whoever's running on the Democratic side needs to be running not just on a restoration, but also a renewal of America. Because I think Democrats over the years have kind of lost our way.
Oh, is that right? I wonder how that happened. So all of a sudden, you have these pretty left-leaning politicians like Pritzker who said, you know what I should do? I'm going to try to pretend I'm an independent. No thanks. We're not buying it. Never will. It's just too much. I honestly, I don't know if I can handle it. We're going to do the cut of the day coming up after the break. And if you want to find me online, Ryan Recker on Twitter, at Ryan Recker Radio on Facebook. And maybe one thing I should mention here real quick. I also host Coast to Coast AM. It's George Norrie's show, but I get to do 2 to 3 shows a month for Coast to Coast. It's not this weekend, but I do next weekend, Saturday night and Sunday night, the 27th and 28th. You get to listen to it right here on 97.1, which is a huge honor. And once in a while, we'll get people calling in from St. Louis, and they'll say, I remember listening to your show, or I listened to 97.1, and it is the biggest thrill when I'm hosting the national show on Coast to Coast AM and someone from St. Louis calls in. Absolutely love it. So I wanted to mention that too. Thank you for all the people that may be listening here and continue to support me after all these years. You're listening to the Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we are thinning out as far as traffic goes, but we still have a jam on westbound 270. There was an accident near Riverview, and there's some real slow-moving traffic behind it. Westbound 70 is okay, but eastbound slows at 141. Then there's a little moderate volume at Cave Springs before things open up. And we look better out west. Now, eastbound 70, just a moderate volume between Warrenton and Wright City and a little bit of Forest Dell. 64 westbound, just Clayton Skinker, a little slow there through McCausland and 170, and then west of Winghaven out through 70. Now, northbound 270 still slows at Ladue Road. Southbound does too, and it's also a little off the pace at Gravel. And 55 is actually in pretty good shape. And if you are headed into Illinois, we are actually okay on the Poplar Street Bridge, but are slowing on 64 eastbound at 255. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
97.1 FM Talk in action.
It's Mark Cox. Our friends at the USO Missouri are looking for volunteers. From Lambert Airport to Fort Leonard Wood, volunteers help provide comfort and support to those serving our country. Learn more at missouri.uso.org.
I don't know why you would turn here in St. Louis for your flooring needs, because Mike Reynolds has an amazing team with a ton of experience that he's put together at 3 different locations, and they can help you. And I know this for a fact because I did a project with them a year and a half ago. It was super easy. The carpeting I ripped out myself just to save a little money. You know, they'll give you those options as well. And then when the team came in, and I think it was just one dude, he comes in, puts some flooring in. It looks beautiful. I've never, ever regretted that. And we did it on a budget, so you can do that as well. If you're looking for expertise, maybe get started by going into one of the 3 locations because they're awesome in Old Town St. Peter's, Darden Prairie, and in West County on Olive. But the website really is a great starting point. You can do some searches for products, read some reviews, get some inspiration, look at all the galleries. It's great. It can take a lot of work. They're going to help you, though, make your home look beautiful with new flooring. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloored.com.
Most sellers put their home on the market and just wait to see what happens. Hey, it's Mark Cox, and I'm with Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria, is there a better way to sell?
There is. Instead of listing your home the traditional way and hoping for the right buyer, I can get you up to 8 competitive cash offers right from the start. That means you're not guessing what your home might sell for. You're looking at the real offers and choosing the one that works the best for you. It also helps you to set the right price and create stronger demand if you decide to go to market. It gives you control, leverage, and a clear path forward before you accept just any offer. And remember, I'll guarantee to sell your home at 100% of the market value, or I'll pay you the difference.
Before you sell your home, see what your options are. Call the one I trust, Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
549 this time check, brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Mark Reardon Show is St. Louis conservative.
And welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Mark Reardon one last time. I filled in for Mark Cox a few days ago, and I'm going to do the Mark Cox show tomorrow morning, too. So if you're listening right now, make sure to listen tomorrow morning as well. I would love that you give us a listen there. Well, it's getting close to the end of the Thursday. Let's do the audio cut of the day.
Stand by. Ready. Now, the audio cut of the day.
When talking about the memorandum of understanding, President Trump was asked what would happen if Iran doesn't follow through on the things that they just signed. This is clip 18.
And it's a memorandum of understanding. If it doesn't get done in 60 days, that's all right. We go back to bombing. You know, I don't want to do that because it's so good. But we're going to have to, because we're never going to let them have a nuclear weapon. But they've agreed not to, and you'll see that very clearly in the agreement.
Might have to go back to bombing them. Okay. If we were to do an office pool and we had to guess how many days before that happens, what would you guess? Maybe we should all write it down. We should submit it. That would be a poll question. That's your audio cut of the day. Thank you for that. I only had a couple of other stories to get to before we wrap up the show here. I saw this over on the BBC, and the Guardian's reporting that BBC News is going to go through a major round of job cuts as they're trying to cut $500 million. Well, I should say dollars. Pounds, is that the currency they use? 500 million pounds. So the BBC, brutal cost-saving drive across the corporation. Staff already told to expect a high number of redundancies. Job losses could run into the hundreds. Says 15% of our income will be the cut. Our income is not entirely salary bill, as we have other things as well, although it is the majority. So ultimately 10% is a figure across the whole BBC, and that doesn't take into account that there are areas it's just not possible to make cuts in. That's kind of what their director of news and content were mentioning about how savage some of these different cuts are going to be. So I looked it up online, and if you're not familiar with the way the BBC works, but over in the UK, if you have a television set, you have to agree to buy a license to view the content of the BBC. And it was very, very strict in the past. Like, if you didn't pay for a household license, they would show up and they'd say, we don't believe that you don't have a TV, so let's make sure you're not stealing our BBC content. But they force you to buy a license in order to enjoy the content of the BBC. And if you wanted to guess how much a year that you as a household would have to pay in order to subsidize the BBC, it is $237 a year. Imagine if NPR came around and said, in order for you to enjoy the wonderful PBS and NPR programming, because the BBC covers television and radio, imagine, we need you to give us $237 just because you have a television or a radio in your house. And since you have the ability to access this content, then you should have to pay us. One of the other things that's really interesting is that this licensing fee, because they are so strapped for cash, they have been trying to find other ways to bring in money. And they're saying, examining if the license fee should be extended to anyone who watches private streaming services. So let's say you're like, you know what? No, we don't do BBC. We don't do any of this stuff. I do watch Netflix because, I like The Office. They'll say, okay, now you got to pay the fee. Give me a fee. Give me a fee. They're saying that's not the BBC. You have no jurisdiction here. They're looking at trying to find ways to force people who stream content even on a laptop to, like, you watching YouTube, got to pay the BBC fine in the UK. That's the stupidest thing. And keep in mind, too, there's a lot of broadcast entities out here in the United States. I've made this argument before, and I think it's worth repeating. When we went through the cuts through PBS and NPR and things like that, there was some money that was coming in from the government, and I was questioning, why are we even giving money to them to begin with? It's stupid that we even give money to NPR or PBS. Look at us as a broadcast entity. We're competing with them, and the government's giving taxpayer money to people we're competing to, but we get nothing. Are you kidding me? Well, it should be an even playing field. And they cry and they whine, and then they put the pledges on. And you know what? People donated more than they needed to begin with because the threat of stuff going away. So it worked out anyway. You didn't need the intervention from the U.S. government. How about the BBC figure this sort of thing out? Maybe go do what the NPR does. Give out tote bags. You can fix all your problems with tote bags. Be a big part of that. All right. Well, that about does it for me. Again, if you wanted to look me up on Twitter at Ryan Recker, that's one spot you can do it. On Facebook, Ryan Recker Radio. I'll be back to Coast AM, which I host 2 or 3 times a month next weekend. Not this one, but next weekend. I hope I can get some calls from St. Louis on there. Otherwise, it's been a great pleasure. You're listening to the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Westbound 70 out of downtown looks okay. A little slow headed for K.